Welcome, everyone. I'm Dan McDermott. This is our big program. We have a pseudo Native American. We have an Irish guy. No, we have a German guy in Ireland. We have a fake Chinese guy. We have a marketer. And we have one of my best buddies in Menifee, California, which I didn't know existed until about 2 years ago. Welcome to our program. Good to have you with us. I'm Dan McDermott. Let me introduce our panel here. We have, starting with the right, we have Pam Adger. Welcome, Pam.
Hi, Dan. Hello, everyone.
And Pam is my cohort tonight because Alan is under the weather. He's really in jail, but we're not supposed to tell anybody. So keep it under wraps.
Out of everyone on the panel, he's probably the least likely to go to jail.
Unless somebody pissed him off, and then he perhaps could be the most likely. Trust me, I know. And then we have.
I heard they're starting to lock up intellectuals now, so he might very well be locked up.
Indeed, that could be a thing. That could be
That's right.
a breaking story here. By the way, I just wanted to troll Pam real quick. You guys make fun of me because of my Duck Dynasty thing. I just got a contract from E asking if they could use 30 seconds of it for some thing they're doing.
Oh my God.
And that's, so I'm going to call, I have an agent in New York and we're going to have a conversation about that. So
Cool. So maybe you'll make enough money to fly down and visit Southern California. I'll show you around.
perhaps, we'll
Well,
see.
maybe he'll be able to get a decent computer. There's that.
That might be a Windows joke. There's nothing wrong with my Windows XP computer, Craig. Moritz Tolksdorf, my German friend with an excellent backdrop there. I love it. He's got two lightsabers and a Google Plus Week logo. What can go wrong?
Nothing, I assume.
Absolutely. Good to have you with us. And we have Michael Ellis, who's just back from China and relaxing in full relaxing mode. He'll be awake with us for about 60 minutes, maybe 70, 80 minutes. And then he'll take a brief nap, and then he will emerge after his power nap, ready to go.
Right.
And everyone in the panel knows I'm not exaggerating. Cadeas is here, kind of. He's got a place, but he's doing something. He just got back.
I'm driving, but I'm here.
Okay, so you're at least you don't have your camera on, because Pam would scold you.
Yeah, he's driving. He's driving in L.A. traffic at 5:52 on a Friday night, so he might be a while.
Yeah. He could do the entire hangout with us in the car.
In a total of about 10 yards.
Yeah, without moving.
So
Actually,
there you
Yes,
go.
without moving.
He's actually moving. Look at that.
There you go.
Oh.
And we have Harold Carey, who joins us from the Navajo Nation.
Yata A.
He's about as Navajo as Michael is Chinese, but they both speak the language. Welcome, Harold Carey. Good to have you with us, sir. All right, and then Craig Shipp joins us. Craig is back from his motorhome hell. And
Absolutely. It was tough being in Sarasota all winter. Very difficult duty.
It's almost like one of the poles, one of the Arctic or Antarctic poles. It's so bad. Many people die being in Sarasota, Florida in the wintertime. It's awful.
It was horrendous. Global warming is really hitting us hard down there.
I imagine that the local people were very unattractive, and it was just awful.
Absolutely.
Experience.
Difficult, especially when you're on the beach there. Difficult duty. but somebody has to do it.
I appreciate you taking one for the team, my good friend.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, so that happened. And Craig is always a sharp dresser. I like it. So here's the deal. We're going to get with our topics here. The first topic is interesting, and they have expanded the Plus. Google Plus has expanded Plus post ads, and they're now available to any. It's okay. The story said, and this title says, maybe Moritz can clarify this. All the news stories I read said that this was for pages that had over 1,000 followers, but I actually clicked at the announcement on Google Plus, and they never mentioned pages. So is this, you have to have a page, or can this be a profile? That because like in your case, in my case, Moritz, for example, we both have many more followers of our personal profile than we do any pages that we have. So could we take advantage of this? And Moritz, can you just kind of explain what this is?
Good question. I haven't really looked through that.
It's going to be a long show, folks.
No. So this is done by the AdWords people. I mean, they're working together with the Google Plus teams here to launch that, and they were doing the beta last year already with some partners. But as far as I know, this is only for pages, and you're on Google Plus.
Yeah.
I did. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Pam.
And you have to have like a certain amount of followers so you can enable that and use it. I don't know exactly. I saw a post today where someone was explaining how to set that up and how to use it. I haven't read it, unfortunately. But basically what it does is you take your Google Plus post and you were able to reach like, the Google Plus audience, but with the Plus post ads, you now can utilize the Google Display Network and reach the rest 90% or 70% of the whole internet, right? And get your post out there and your more engagement from the whole internet, basically.
Yeah, so it's great for brands. I'm going to go to Pam and Michael, but the bottom line is this: you can promote either a post or you can promote an upcoming Hangout on air. And or I assume you can promote an upcoming one, right? And so I'm not sure if it was clarified, and I haven't logged in as my page, and I don't think we have 1,000 followers yet. But of course, I'll spam on my post to get that, to try this out. But Pam, what do you think about this?
Well,
it's just to be clear before I go to Pam. Just to be clear, this is not advertising on Google Plus proper, right? This is you can take your Google Plus posts and you can advertise them on the traditional Google AdWords network. This is not, they're introducing ads into Google Plus. They're not doing that. They may do that in the future, and they've said that.
It's basically the other way around. It's like not advertising on Google Plus. It's basically taking your content and advertise your content from Google Plus in our network in other places.
Pam?
Right.
Two things. Number one, can you put the URL for the YouTube, the live streaming, so I can put it in the comment tracker? And
Done.
Also, Ben Fisher did a test. He has an AdWords account. He did a test, and he was able to utilize this using his personal page, his personal profile, not his business page. So
But I have read that it was only for pages.
right.
See, this is the thing. All the stories said that. All the blog posts said that. But if I went to the actual, they all linked to the Google announcement, and they didn't mention the word pages, or there was no explicit thing that it had to be pages. So that's interesting, Pam, that you so maybe because a lot of us started out as, because there weren't pages at first, right? Remember the
Correct.
brands joined, like Breaking News and I think Ford or whoever, and they banned all these brands, or maybe Ford was an early tester, the opposite, but they kicked all these brands off, and they said, wait, we're going to do brands later, and then they started pages, right? So a lot of folks have accumulated followers under their personal account or personal brand rather than their business brand. Go ahead, Pam.
No, that's all I was going to say. That he had an AdWords account. He was able to do this test, and it worked for him. So I'm guessing that it's not just for pages.
How do you do it?
regardless of.
Do we know how you do it, Michael Ellis? I mean,
Oh gosh, there's already several posts by Martin Shrivington and Mark Trappenhagen and stuff like that on how to do it exactly. So
do you do it within
I
AdWords, or do you go to a post and say I want to promote it the way that like Google, the YouTube videos work?
I don't know. I've been trying to. Well, I've been busy all day today, so I haven't had any chance to figure it out. But I'm really interested in the idea because I think it lets you create your content in Google Plus where you're already where some people are already comfortable creating content. They know how, they know the tools, they know the format, they know the etiquette, and then it lets you take that existing content and push it out to become an ad to a much broader audience, and I really love that idea. I haven't spent any time figuring out how to make use of it for myself, but I think I will.
I think the other neat aspect of it is that it gives a social feeling. So you're not feeling like this is an advertisement. It's more like it feels like this is a conversational message aimed right at you that's appearing where an ad used to appear.
that's the other point. It's supposedly a fully interactive post. It's not just well, and like I said, that's only from reading it.
Very different.
Let's hope it doesn't have to be figured out as far as how to use it. Let's hope it's somewhat user-friendly. Everybody keeps talking about figuring it out and reading a post about it, and I hope it's not that difficult to use.
I would venture it's probably at least as difficult to figure out how to use as any of their AdWords.
I gotta tell you that if anybody makes it difficult to give them money, nobody can touch Google. Their UI on AdWords, and I use AdSense and I use AdWords, and their UI on AdWords is I've told them this multiple times, and they all just giggle and laugh and like in acknowledgement. It's the worst UI user interface I've ever seen. It's the most convoluted, kludgy, cluster, whatever. It's the first hour of the show, so we don't say the second word that I've ever seen. So,
Well, prime time.
right, the kids are still
I
awake.
think Sony Repair Service is probably worse because I just dealt with them, and that was a nightmare. So,
Which one do you want to troll? Who do you want to troll? What company?
there's a lens that I had damaged that I had to send in to be repaired, and I'm on the phone with them with my credit card saying, I've got my credit card, I've got all the information, I want to pay you the money, you told me how much it would be, I want to give you the money. No, we have to fax you a form.
Oh my God!
Fill
It's
it out.
2014, and they use faxes? Are you
need to
serious?
sign it, and you need to fax it back to us.
So you're driving around for a Kinko's.
I'm like, first of all, I don't have a printer, you know. And so anyway, it was, and from there it went downhill. So,
And that's already pretty bad. If it went downhill from there, I don't even want to hear it.
from there it went downhill.
There you go, Alan.
Probably lose sleep.
You can create an app for Hangouts that's a virtual fax machine where someone can say, I acknowledge and I sign the effing document. Please, take my money.
Google Docs already has it.
Yeah, that's true. The VeriSign thing or whatever it is.
I didn't know
Google-
that was in Google
So-
Docs.
So is there a way I can use my Google Voice number and have them fax to the Google Voice number and it goes in as a doc? Is that how it works?
No, I've never looked into how it works, but I believe it's a central line, and within it you give it an extension and it shows up in your docs. That's a guess. I've never tried it. I've never looked at it carefully.
Gotcha. And then you need a image of your signature to drag onto it or something like you signed it, huh?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I got to
But
tell you,
It can't be that hard. You could figure it out.
yeah. Somebody's probably written a post on it.
Yeah, we should look for a post.
it may be advertised now on the AdWords network. So
There might be a how-to.
I am frustrated, by the way, Alan and company. I love Google Docs, and I am fully in the Google ecosystem, and I understand it. But I had when I did my paper last night. This is my zombie week. Every other week I'm a zombie. I did my paper last night, and I sent a proof of the paper because it was 36 megabytes. So I had to upload it to Drive. Then I clicked share. I got the share link, right? I can't share the link when I'm looking at it. I have to click share and then get a separate link, even though I've made it, put it in a directory where anyone who has the link can see it. So that's a pain in the ass. Then I emailed the link to people. The link was not clickable in their email, and this is my staff. And then I had 2 complaints. I can't open it up. It doesn't work. I said, you highlight with your mouse, you copy, right-click copy, and then you paste it into a new tab. And they're like, it doesn't open up. It doesn't work. So then I had to remake the PDF again into 2 pieces because it had to be less than whatever an email will take. It was a horrific nightmare. And
Oh God.
if you're like an Internet Explorer user, well, I'm not, but like my staff, right, which are technically inclined, not technically inclined. Drive still, I mean, Docs and Drive still are not as user friendly as, in my opinion, Dropbox and the traditional alternatives we're using. I mean, maybe it took them 3 years to figure out email. I'm not sure, but I just wish this shit worked more, is what I'm saying.
I don't know.
When you're talking about,
I have about the same experience on Drive and Dropbox. They're equally difficult. I've figured out Drive at this point.
yeah.
But I've seen people screw up Dropbox pretty horrifically.
Oh yeah. I was a bunch of stuff was shared with me from my sister, and a few other people, and all of us kept, when we were done with watching the film that she put in there, the movie or the TV series, we would delete the episode so it didn't take up space in our Dropbox allocation. But it was deleting it for everybody, and it was not at all evident that that's what was happening. That's not the way Drive works.
Yeah, the issue that I've had is people would think they are permitting me to a Dropbox folder, and in reality what they're doing is they're making a copy of the Dropbox folder for me. So as they keep putting updates into that folder, I wasn't seeing the updates. They were looking at the folder and they're like, what do you mean? It's right there. And I'm like, I don't know. I've got, nothing's changed in 2 weeks.
And another issue is with this was not the case last night, but with identities, because Google has allowed you to use a non-Gmail. I mean, all of us have. I bet there's not a single person in here, including Moritz, who works at Google and whose opinions are his own, not those of Google. But I'll bet there's nobody in here who doesn't have at least 2 or more accounts that are associated with some sort of Google property. And so sometimes, like, I might have, Alan at imawesome.com as his identity, and the email that I'm making that up, associating him with. But really, when he actually logs in, it's a different thing. And so then I've got some document or whatever on Drive or Docs that is not public, but I'm sharing it with him. But I'm not really sharing it with him because he's like, it doesn't work. I'm clicking the link, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? That's a serious problem because I don't know. I'm done venting. Moritz, you want to defend yourselves?
You don't represent the company in this case.
Do you want to defend Google here? We're totally off topic. I
More than that,
just
I tried to figure out the AdWords stuff.
Yeah, I thought.
Us off topic? What a shock.
Oh, Dan, on the AdWords
Yes, sir.
thing, I had a thought.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I can't see the majority of people I think are like me that basically why would I want to buy ads to bring people to my web page? Because what I do with my Google Plus pages is send people to my website. So it'd be like I'd be like doubling my efforts. I might as well, everything that I do is sending people on Google Plus and Facebook and everything is send people to my website where I make money off of Google Ads. Well, how many people make money off off of their Google pages. It's mainly just an advertisement of their company, but I don't see them making money off of it.
Harold, almost nobody makes money on the internet, period. So you're the exception to the rule that you actually make money on the internet. So
yeah, Harold, you make thousands a month, right?
Well, yeah, 1 month I made 2,000. I'm making about 600 a month right now.
Okay,
I mean,
so
that's very rare for somebody to be able to monetize the web like that. So most people are probably running these ads for who knows what reason. There's something they're promoting, there's some event or some organization or whatever, and they're just trying to get some visibility. I don't think they're doing it directly to make money off, AdWords and so forth. I think they're just promoting something.
Yeah, see, when I used AdWords, I had something to sell. I was selling my Navajo artwork, and I would basically place ads in AdWords, and they would come to my page, and I would sell them rugs or things like that. Now that's where I can see it's useful.
I could see this being useful if you're a brand that advertises generically, and you had a post or a contest, for example, you might want to do it. If you're selling a product, like my sister, if she's selling her book, she might have a really good hangout that she did talking about it, and she might want to promote that. Alan, can you think what are the use case scenarios where a company might, or an individual or whoever might want to promote a Google Plus post or a hangout?
Well, I think the hangout is kind of self-obvious. The reason why they'd want people to come to the post is because they want people to have the longer-term repeat interaction. An advertisement will get you to will get you to their website once. A post, hopefully they'll engage with the post. They'll return back to the post as there's more conversation. And if they like the conversation, they'll subscribe to you and follow you. That's what an advertiser wants, is they want you to keep coming back. And if as part of that, they then can redirect you to the sales on the website, that's exactly what they want. But kind of the hope is the more times that you see them, the more the bigger the chance that they're going to go to your product.
Right.
There are also people that use Google Plus in effect as their website. That is their website, and so
right. And those people are stupid.
Well, but there are people that do that.
Some are our former guests.
The people that basically use it like a blog or whatever, and that is their destination, and so therefore something like this would be perfect for them. And the other thing is, Dan, let's say like that video that you released today. Let's say you did a post and a write-up about it with some links in the post to different things that you referred to, right? Then you could promote that whole post. And so when you pull people in, not only do they get a chance to see that video, but there are also the associated links with it and so forth.
And this gets to the whole branding thing. And by the way, at the top of the show, I noted that Alan was under the weather, and anyone watching, Alan just now realizes I wasn't making that up. Alan, are you okay? I mean, you're going to make it, right? Because, like, you're not going to keel over during the show.
Why?
I think he seems okay.
Okay.
Do I look pale or something?
No, you're a bit stuffed up. Stuffy.
He has a cold, not a coronary.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm sick. And yes, I'll be bailing out of this show as soon as I can. But
so anyway, we're glad you're going to make it.
Thousands of people die every year of a cold, so don't.
Now, if you do straight up die during the show, make sure you let me know ahead of time so I can blue box you and we can get some ratings finally. All right, I'm just kidding. Alan's my buddy, and I'm joshing with him.
First death on air in a hangout. I don't know about that.
I know, we've done a surgery. We haven't done the opposite of,
There haven't been any deaths on air yet?
There was one close call, but apparently it was a faux thing. But to your earlier point, Craig, if you have a video that you want to promote, like in the case we're working on a video for the areaguides.com project, But the bottom line is it's all about footprints, right? There are certain people who use Facebook mainly, and there are certain people who just browse the web, and there are certain people who use Google Plus mainly. And if you're a brand, be it Area Guides or Coca-Cola or Ford or whatever, then you know that you're going to be more receptive to on that platform to people who favor that platform. So I think you're going to see all the big brands coming over and using this because they'd be stupid not to. I mean, not everyone likes Google Plus. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone likes Facebook. But you know, some use one or the other. Some use both. But these are folks. There are many companies who are mainstream brands like car companies, insurance. You know, Geico, Progressive. How many commercials have you seen from Geico with a freaking lizard? Right? It's in print. It's online. It's on Facebook. Everywhere. So they're going to be everywhere, and they're going to adopt all these footprints to reach the max. Their goal is they got X budget, and they're going to reach all the things. I mean, the perfect example of this, although it's totally not analogous, but it is in a way. President Obama, in his sales pitch for the Affordable Health Care Act, has been trying to reach kids, and so he's going on these like that Funny or Die comedy series with Zach with the unpronounceable name, Between Two Ferns. You know, you go where the audience is that you're trying to reach, and there is an audience. It's not the biggest audience yet. You know, we'll see what happens. But there is an audience that's on Google Plus, and those things I think will be highlighted more on Google than you know, other types of ads. We'll see. Anybody want to add anything to this? Okay.
No, I'm excited. I think I'm excited to give it a try, although I've learned a couple things tonight, which isn't surprising. I always learn something. And I'm interested to see how I can figure out how to use this effectively.
Okay, I just did it while you all were talking. It's actually quite easy to do.
When you say did it, can you clarify?
The ads post stuff.
We're talking about AdWords here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. AdWords. So you just to initiate a shared post. Do you do it? Did you do it from Google Plus or from AdWords? Can you explain the process real quick?
What you do is you set up a campaign, and then you select a new option in there, which is engagement, and also you only select Google Display Network. Everything else will not work with that stuff. And on the one of the last steps, you can actually add the Google Plus page or profile. So we have clarification on that. So you can use actually your profile or any other page. You just post the link that you want to promote of the page or profile, and then you can select the post for that campaign you want to use. It automatically puts or pulls in the last post, most recent post you have on your profile, but you can select a different one if you want to. And then it is basically like an embedded post with +1s, comments, and everything in there, and you can engage straight from the ad with the post. And then you save it, and then it's ready to go. But you basically have to set up a campaign for each post you want to promote.
Okay. This might be getting us too much into
my
sports, but
video is super blurry today because my internet connection is quite slow. Because I moved apartments and I have like 0.6 megabyte upload.
Now, you just said that you need to set up a new campaign for each post?
As far as I understand it, yes.
Okay, one of the things I thought it would do is you could set up a campaign for all your posts, and it would always show the most recent one. Now, that did sound like it was an option. That's not how it had to work. But that sounded like that was something that was doable.
Maybe. I have to check it again. Yeah. I haven't seen an option around that. But here, I mean, on the screen share, you won't probably see anything at all. But this is how the ad would look like. Like, you know, a little like a shrunken post, and then you have this blue button where you can hover to expand, and then it has a full engagement embedded post with share +1 comments and everything.
Moritz, do you have to be a Google Plus user or signed into Google Plus in order to engage on this?
I assume so, yeah. Like with any other engaged post. Otherwise, you won't see the buttons to do that.
But okay, so the other part of that question is: do you have to be a Google Plus user to see the post?
No. As long as the post is public, which you certainly should do if you want to reach the, you know.
Because it's public, yeah.
So not only is it tempting, but and a moneymaker for Google, but it also if someone sees a compelling post they want to engage in, then it's an invitation to upgrade to Google Plus or join Google Plus or whatever you want to call it. So it's a win-win there.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, if
I wonder if they get a set.
If you talk about your business in that post, you know, you get the click-throughs from that as well. If it's like really compelling and engaging and inviting post, you get, you know, your money back as well. Like, you know, because people, you know, go into your service or whatever you have in that post, you know, if it's good enough, you basically get the money back that you invested into the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
anyway,
so there we go. Any other thoughts on this? Kadeus, are you going to use this?
I mean, I leave this campaign running now for a week. Let's see what I get from that.
Is it from Google?
It's just a post I made today about Google Keep, and that I should always write down my ideas instead of saying like, yeah, I remember that. I never remember that stuff.
Craig Shipp would say the same about me, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He makes me take notes in important meetings. Okay, so there we have that. All right, so next up is you can subscribe. I think Pam put this in, so let's hope she knows about it because I have not seen this. Subscribe to Google Hot Searches. And have them delivered to your inbox.
Yeah, I just used that a few minutes ago.
What's this about? Like,
well, what you do, for instance, what I did just a few minutes ago, just before this, so I could talk about it, is you go over to, you click on the little link there, it goes over to searches, and you pick, let's say I picked Harvard University, and then I picked Taylor Swift, and then you click a little subscribe button, and then once a week, the default is once a week, you get a graph and information on those two people, or whatever you subscribe to. Basically, all the hot searches, they have once you click on it, you can click a button that says subscribe, and then it sends you something once a week. That's how it works.
Was that a rough example, or did you actually subscribe to Harvard University and Taylor Swift?
Well, I just want to test it out, but that's what I did. Yeah, I picked those two items because they were. What it is they have the top 5 items in every category. You know, like presidents and popular people and songs and music. There's 5 items in each category, and then you can click on a button and get more. But so I picked, you know, a couple of the top items and subscribed to them just to see how it works.
Okay. Anybody else playing with this?
No, I haven't yet. It's new to me.
So what it does is that you can compare them, like if you compare Taylor Swift to Beyonce, and puts a graph and see which one is. So if you want to follow those two people, you can see which one is popular right now. It's tremendously useful when I was making money off of this. I used it all the time. The way you can make money off this is you have a blog and you find out who's the most popular and you do posts about that person and you get a huge amount of traffic to your site. So when things were more volatile than they are today, you could find the top searches are, and you would write a post about that person, and you would bring people to your site. It worked really well for a while, but I think Google's catching on to that.
And despite the fact that I put the article in, doesn't necessarily mean I know jack diddly about it. So I have no comment.
So we should stop asking you on that point.
Tell us exactly how all of this works in great detail.
And
I can read the article.
Just make it up. That's what we're all doing. So
it's very simple. It's just a 2-click process. You just pick a person and click subscribe. That's it.
So does when it starts out, does it tell you who these people are, like Beyonce, and who was the other one you said, Taylor Swift?
Well, it's basically it's Google's top searches, and there's like about 20 or 30 categories, and they give you the top 5, and you can click on the more button, and it gives you about 50. So you can, in every category, it gives you Google's top searches.
So you're saying it used to work as a way of driving traffic to your site, but not anymore?
Well, it's because there's so much competition. When the internet when I first started doing this on the internet back around, I would say back around around the 98 or something like that, you could use this and you could see what everybody was searching for, and you could see the top searches on Google, and you would start writing articles about these people, and you get tons of traffic coming to your site selling ads. It worked beautiful. So every time somebody was real popular, if a news story broke, you'd write all about that like crazy, and you'd get all the people coming to you first because you had a story about that person who was the #1 person in the news, and Google kept track of all that stuff.
So what changed?
The competition. There's too much. The main thing that changed is the news agencies. There was no new agencies. CNN. There was no CNN. There was no Fox News. There was none of this stuff back in the late 90s, around 98, and around even up to 2000. There was none of these people were on the internet, and now they're the ones that have the traffic coming to their websites, and so it doesn't work for an individual anymore.
So what's the point of subscribing to hot searches and having them delivered to your inbox then?
Well, let's say you had an interesting, like maybe obscure interest, right? Maybe you could subscribe to that obscure interest, and then any new things would pop into your inbox, right? If someone.
But I thought this was just for hot searches, so it's not like you can say subscribe to it for, news on Tiddlywinks. You're just subscribing. There's just one news feed. Everyone gets told what the current hot searches are, I thought.
Yeah, I don't know what the point is.
Well, the point is for marketing. This is exactly what I was using it for in the past, and that's what everybody uses it for now. The hot searches is you basically have a graph of what is popular and what is not, and businesses like news services and stuff like that use that to tell their editors. The editors tell the people what they want them to write about, because it works the same way now as it did with before, except for with the big companies. Like if you're CNN, you can follow these entertainment people and see which one's the most popular right now and write out articles about them, and that brings revenue into your website.
Okay, reading the blog entry, which I realize is a radical concept for all of us. Quote, you can now subscribe to any search topic, hot searches for any country, or any U.S. monthly top chart. So it does do what Pam wants it to do, and which I agree is a great thing. You can subscribe to topics. Now,
which is what
I guess
how is that any different from Google Alerts, though?
Well, because didn't they get rid of Google Alerts like a year ago?
got rid of it, then it works, and then it doesn't.
I still
I
get.
think that's how it's different.
You mean it works? It's different because it works?
No, because it's gone. It's not there anymore.
But it is there. I still get emails.
I got one today.
Yeah, I've got no idea why this is considered new.
What was the old thing that first was in Google Plus for a while that had a goofy name and people didn't like the name?
Sparks.
But it did this. Sparks, yeah. It let you save searches and click on Sparks and click on the save search and go do that again.
Yeah, but that's stupid.
Why is that stupid?
Because that's not what you want.
Okay.
You want it delivered to you when any of those sparks actually happens. If you've got 50 sparks, you don't want to keep going, okay, anything new here? Anything new here?
Well,
New
fair
here?
enough. Fair enough. Yep.
Okay, you can do that. You can still do that today. It's called a bookmark. It's, you know, we have these tools still, but what this is this is a push notification. This is sending you information when something happens, and that's much more powerful than you having to click on 50 different things trying to find what you want.
Right.
That's why it always baffled me that people ever liked Sparks. I understand the concept, but it was such a horrible implementation for a social network. Especially for a social network.
It worked for me, but okay.
Well, it worked. I'm not arguing that it worked.
No, it worked for
me. You could stay in the Google search, and it would work too. It's not like there was anything special about Sparks.
But the thing is, I had to save the search, and sometimes the searches get very involved and complicated. The number of parameters you put in, the ands, the ors, the nots, to get the more narrow definition you want. I didn't want to memorize that shit.
You don't. You save. You do the search, and then you bookmark it.
Okay. I probably didn't know how to do that. I know how to do a bookmark, just for the record. But I don't think I ever knew you could save the entire search string into a bookmark.
Yes.
Okay.
You still can.
So, for the record, and to defend myself slightly, perhaps not everyone understands it as well as you do.
Okay, I will grant that point. I don't think that Sparks made it any easier, though.
I swear to God, I don't even remember Sparks. I mean, I remember the name.
I remember it, but I never clicked on it.
That was the part I was missing.
I don't know. Maybe.
I used it.
But you probably knew how to do the search.
I think Cadeas, you and I are too young to have remembered.
I did, and I was disappointed.
Dan.
Oh, fine.
We're the
Damn.
same.
Are we gonna let that stand?
A couple interesting comments here. Very interesting. Medicrit says it's great that we can watch this live on the Chromecast now. Too bad we can't comment from the phone. It says comments disabled. That's
man. Dan, we caused that. Whenever I made that big uproar when I was in Japan, and then they say, "Yeah, we'll fix comments on mobile." Yeah, they fixed it all right. It's totally disabled.
Yeah, they. We need Elliot Ness to solve this situation, and then Captain Euro. This may be the strangest comment we've ever had on Google Plus Week. I saw a guy stuff another person who was trapped in a rug in a trunk today. Not kidding. Too bad I didn't have a pair of glass. So there we go. So this is
just wanted the picture.
Hopefully he called the police.
He was busy trying to look for a pair of glass.
Yeah, I'm hoping there was some sort of thespian thing going on. So anyway, okay, so I see this topic listed here. Google doesn't want others using the word glass. They want to trademark the word glass. So on the one hand, you can joke that they want to they're going to trademark plate. They're going to come out with the Google plates, and so you can't refer to plates. You'll have to say the thing we put the food on. But the way trademarks work is in the context of. So it's when used in the context of, and Alan, you might want to draw an analogy here to Apple because they had an agreement with Apple Records, which was the Beatles production company or whatever, and Apple Computer. And then when Apple started selling music with iTunes, they had a dispute. And Steve Jobs famously said, you know, we love the Beatles and we'll work this out. So how do you address this whole seemingly at first crazy notion, but maybe not so crazy if you look at it in context of Google wanted to trademark the term glass to refer to a wearable that is on your eyes?
Well, it's not it's not so crazy if you understand trademarks and how they work and why they work. It's, you know, more crazy, personal opinion, that a company like Microsoft got a trademark for the word Windows. That's even more absurd. But in this case, I think it's very, very warranted for Google to get the trademark glass. It is a distinctive product. Google is trying to protect that as a distinctive identifier for that product. There have been parts of the reasons why the Patent and Trademark Office have rejected it indicate it cannot be the term cannot be purely descriptive. Well, that's not purely descriptive of glass. There's plastic on it, for example. So I think in the end Google will win out on this one. I think it's a valid trademark, and I think it's valid for Google to get it.
And there's really no glass in glass, right?
The brick is glass.
Say again?
There is a glass portion. Hang on.
What part's glass?
The brick, the prism that I'm sort of pointing at right now.
Really? That's actual glass?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. I thought it was some kind of plastic.
No, I believe it's actual glass.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm not a materials scientist.
I bet it's an expensive part to replace. Do we have any numbers on what they've sold? Because they did this thing. Any speculation? Because I saw this. I'm sure, Alan, you might have some speculative thoughts about this, but I remember at first the color that Cadeas has, the cotton color, or white, whatever, that was the first to sell out, and then some other colors. I think the charcoal was the last color to sell out when they did this free for all. Any thoughts on this? What do you guys think about that?
Well, let's be honest here. Am I actually? Yeah. Let's be honest here. That was more of a publicity stunt than anything else. If you wanted glass before the April 15th event, you just needed to just sign up, and you'd be notified within a few days. It wasn't hard to get on the Explorer program before now, but the big sale on the 15th, and by sale we don't mean discount, we mean actual, selling something, was more a publicity stunt than anything else.
And it worked.
Apparently a successful one.
Well, we don't know how well it worked, Dan, because there's been no numbers released.
Well, I mean, sale, if you're looking for publicity, if you're judging it in those terms, then it absolutely. I mean, I saw that show Michael and Kelly, the successor to Regis and Kathy. They were talking about it, and
oh yeah, I'm sure they got publicity. No, I was talking about
in all the stories they kept saying Google Glasses, and I think that goes to what Alan was talking about with the trademark issue. As soon as I heard it was called Google Glass, I thought, well, that's a stupid name. Why didn't they call it Google, Glasses? And the reason is because they were probably thinking ahead. We can't trademark glasses. We might have
there's no way
slightly better shot.
The word glasses.
Right. So, by using it in this context, because nobody's used.
Well, wait a minute now. Why couldn't they do glasses with regard to this type of a device?
Because glasses are already a generic term, and it's already a generic term for things that you wear on your face.
But not things with electronic stuff in them, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, you can talk about glasses that have neon, glasses that have LEDs in them. The term is already a generic term. You can't go back and trademark a generic term once it's already been made generic.
And glass isn't generic yet.
Glass is not generic.
When used in that context.
When used in this context.
Gotcha.
Well, the difference is that glass is not a is basically kind of not a product. Glass is a product that somebody invented, and glass isn't. It's more of a generic term than glass is actually a product generic term, like Band-Aid and Jell-O.
The reason I went to the Beatles Apple analogy is the Beatles had Apple Records, and obviously they couldn't trademark the name Apple because, you know, it's a popular fruit that everyone, you know, they can't like demand royalties from the local grocery store, but they could use it in the context of a record label, and that's what they did. And then when Apple Computer started, they agreed that it was okay for them to sell computers and that they wouldn't sue them.
Where agreed means there was a lawsuit.
That was settled. Right, so they agreed in the end. But yeah, they were pissed initially. But then when, because they said, you know, we understand that when you're selling computers and you're selling records, right, at the time it was, you know, 33s and 45s. And before that, you know, 8-tracks with the Beatles. And then Apple, it erupted again when they started selling, when they started iTunes, because all of a sudden now there was a conflict in Apple Computer's mind that now they were in, or I'm sorry, in Apple Records' mind. I'm getting confused here, and which illustrates the problem here.
Well,
I mean, obviously it's a common term.
But part of the agreement was that Apple Computer would not in any way be involved in music sales. So, you know, the fact that Apple rebranded themselves, for starters, from Apple Computers, and then went into music sales, was in direct conflict with the agreement that they had made.
Wasn't they into
so Apple
music
was very
sales?
much wrong on this.
But wasn't they in music sales before they removed the name, the computers from the name? I
believe it was part of what they were trying to, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Who, Apple?
Sorry, I wasn't
which Apple?
Apply the exact same thing here.
Cadeas, which Apple?
Apple Computers, he meant.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, Apple Computers.
Yeah, they were. But when they launched iTunes, that launched the second lawsuit.
Yes.
This gets confusing because, like, obviously Apple's a common term, and I don't know. It's a great day for lawyers when all this stuff happens, right?
Yeah, what isn't confusing is follow the money. It's all about the lawyers.
He's got his Henry Kissinger glasses on. Okay, next up is Google Glass updates, right?
Yes. Big updates this week.
So I tried to video call you today, Alan, with your glass, and you never responded. What's up with that?
I hate you, Dan. That's why I never responded.
That was just a dig just then. I don't know if you caught that. So tell us about the Google the glass updates. I have to say Google Google Glass to meet the trademark criteria, right?
I mean Google Glasses or Googly Eyes.
I can't get sued for just saying glass.
You couldn't get sued for just saying glass anyway, even if it was a trademark. We say Google all the time on this show.
All right, so what's the deal with the glass updates?
So the deal is we've been waiting 4 months for an update, and we finally got it this week. What they call XE16 or Explorer Edition 16. It brings with it a massive amount of changes. The big one being that we've moved from ice cream sandwich to Kit Kat under the covers, which is more the subject of our Monday night show, our Android Week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. But although everyone liked that, they were all kind of disappointed by all of the problems and missing features that it brought. So sound search, which we used to have, has been removed, and it sounds like that's not coming back. Video call, Hangout video chats through Glass was also removed, and it sounds like that will be coming back as soon as they figure out how to fix it. So the official position was that the video quality was not as good as they were hoping for, as they wanted. I know other people are interpreting this in different ways. My interpretation of that is if you tried to start a video hangout, it would crash the device. And I would judge that as a lower quality. What do you think about that one, Kadeus?
If you started a video call, it would crash the device?
Well, that's what I'm wondering is if, in testing it, they discovered that trying to start a video call would crash the device. So rather than leave it in this flawed feature, they just, disabled it for now while they fixed it.
That's one experience I never have experienced, and everybody with Glass around me, I've never heard.
No, I don't think anyone has. My point is that when they moved it to, to XE16,
gotcha.
They were seeing this problem under XE16.
Gotcha, under KitKat.
I don't understand.
Right.
They introduced this product almost 2 years ago at I/O with Sergey in an airplane and a bunch of guys jumping out of an airplane using a video hangout with Glass. That was their big selling point. So in almost 2 years, they haven't fixed this?
Well, it was. I mean, Video Hangouts was working fine 4 months ago. My guess is that when they, replatforming things is complicated, and Glass is a very complicated platform to replatform to.
If you think that it's because it was crashing, why would they say indefinitely? Why wouldn't they just solve or I didn't say indefinitely, but they made it sound as though it probably will never be coming back anytime in the next year, is the way they present it.
No. That was not the impression I got at all.
And why are they so dictatorial? Because, with a computer, for example, you can choose which version of Windows you want, right? Like a lot of people are still buying OEM Windows 7 because they don't trust Windows 8.
Yeah. Can I just cut you off for a second, Dan?
Yeah.
Okay. How many times have you complained about the fact that your phone isn't upgraded to the latest version? How many times have we heard about the freaking Android fragmentation problem? And you want to give people a choice on a beta product? Come on.
I think when it's something like this, but is this a mountain out of a
molehill, though? It doesn't make that much difference. If you think about it doesn't make that much difference because Android's a bag of hurt any way you slice it. So
why you always got to go there, Craig?
Craig.
He's actually on a continuous loop. I just hit a button there, and he just said that from a show about 6 months ago.
Okay, I can see, Alan, where you would get that. Possibly there were some issues, but I mean they just make it sound like it's like when they say, well, we don't know when that'll be. It just makes it sound as though it's going to be a while before they even get to this problem, to resolving this problem. I thought it was related to quality. I don't know if you've ever been on the other end of a Hangout coming from Glass, but I thought it was quality related is the reason why they stepped away from it. So I don't know.
The way, like I said, maybe it is, but that seems like a very weak argument unless the quality went down dramatically. So dramatically. I
just
really
thinking they had so many complaints that they would just say, okay, well, let's take this out until we resolve the quality and bring it back. That's what I thought it was.
More complaints now.
The last I heard, it was going to be fixed by the second Tuesday of next week. That's what I heard.
You must have been listening to something coming from Apple then.
There you go.
You must have actually been looking at your Apple calendar. If you've got 2 Tuesdays next week.
I think it was on Infowars.com, in between the storable foods and the gun ads.
AndroidRumors.com.
Yeah, so I hear what you're saying, Alan, and it's a fair rebuttal, but my point is I hate the incessant updates that are intrusive. And I like that Chrome just updates stuff and it works. But it would be neat if someone said,
Dan,
oh my
but
God,
hang on.
don't update to the new Glass thing because it kills Hangouts. And I had the option to prevent that. That would be a
This
neat
thing is a
ability.
prototype, Dan.
Yeah,
It's a prototype.
Dan,
But that's not a relevant point because all of Google's products do that. You can't update to the new version of
your
Google
Chrome argument makes a lot
or
of sense.
Chrome.
Your Chrome argument makes a lot of sense. The problem is you're thinking of Glass as if you're on the release channel of Chrome, whereas I think of Glass as if you're on either the dev channel or the Canary channel of Chrome.
Well, what's
And in
ironic
those cases,
and
they're-
okay, but Canary I can choose which one to download. With full version Chrome I can't, right?
Right, but again, so okay, fine, use the dev channel Chrome. My point though is on dev channel there have been times that I've had to go to dev channel to get certain features. Okay, but then they'd push out a fix for something and everything would break. And in order to get out of dev channel Chrome OS, I'd have to jump through incredible hoops. You know, there's a reason why I'm using my Pixel now instead of my Chromebox, and it's because it's on dev channel and there's a serious bug on dev channel at the moment for me.
And I guess the bottom line, I mean, the relevant point here is that this is the Explorer Edition, and that's
Exactly.
You know,
This
you're a
is an
beta
early
tester. You're a paid beta tester, right? I mean, you're paying for the privilege.
You're paying beta tester, yes.
So you take it, you know, with all the lumps, you know.
That's right. And if you want
Sometimes there's
something
some
that's
bristle.
stable and reliable, you're going to go to the Apple Store anyway, right? So,
Right, and you go and you get your iPhone 5 and run iOS 6 on it because there's no way in hell you're going to run iOS 7.
My 7 runs great. I don't know about you
You
guys.
turn everything off,
Well, I turn the things I don't need off. Yeah.
which is
Just
everything.
everything.
No.
You've said this. Anyway,
I went through the whole list. They got a whole list of things that you don't really need that you can turn off. I still have GPS on, so my photos are still GPS tagged. I still have a lot of the things I need turned on.
Okay, let's
Anyway,
not go down this road.
our Apple week is the second Tuesday of every week. So,
Oh my God, wind him up and there he
at
goes.
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
When, by the way, when is your Android show? I've got to try to catch that sometime.
That happens to be. Tell us, Alan.
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, every Monday night.
But
Absolutely.
that's the same time as the Hooping Live show.
I thought Hooping Live was at 10.
No.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yep, it's at 9. That's what TiVos are for. Can TiVos record Hangouts? Oh, that's right. Hangouts are recorded anyway on YouTube.
That's what YouTube is for.
So that solves that problem. They can watch both shows. They can watch one live and then one after the fact.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've obviously lost control of the agenda tonight.
And
Was
how's
there
that different than any other week?
So Alan is gonna have to leave at some point soon. And I don't understand this next topic here, and we hope Alan recovers as soon as possible. The topic is 2 improvements to the Google Plus followers widget for Blogger. I have no idea what this is about.
As I wrote in the comment after it, I have no idea what this is about either, and the link is to an old page, an old blog entry. So
Oh, really?
You know, this is a problem with, okay. This
This
is
is a problem with Pam typing the word Google into Google Plus search and then forgetting to hit most recent instead of, what do you call it?
Do not get me started on that stupidity. I hate
all right,
that.
so let me say this, and do not under any circumstances say the name of the person, please, because some of you know it. But there was a 2-year-old interview we did with Chi, who's the Google VP in charge of Hangouts. He was on; it was great, and they had just released some new features. Well, after Chi left, someone came on and allegedly was smoking something off camera, and it was visible. So someone just resurrected that post. So I was getting all these things, these mentions, and it was like, this is great, but it was really interesting about this thing where, like, this wouldn't happen on other social networks, where if Pam had said something, a year and a half ago, the way Google works, it's so discoverable forever, right? So you might have posted something like, gee, what a great presidential inauguration, or whatever it is, and then someone plus ones it like 2 years later, and it's like it happened just 10 minutes ago, along with the rest. It's a strange phenomenon, if that makes sense. Anybody else find this an oddity? Nobody cares? Nobody cares.
Well, it's not like I don't care. It's just, it's just
We've
part
been
of
living in the world for a while, so
yeah,
we,
it's just
we
part
kinda
of
get it.
yeah, it's just part of the shit that goes down. I mean, every once in a while I get a notification for a post I did in 2011. I'm like, oh damn, maybe I should reshare that.
Blast from the past, yeah.
Funny, yeah.
All right, so that went over well. So I'm going to continue here. Feedly serves 15 million users using the Google Cloud platform. What's the deal with this?
I did not put that in. I did not put that in, so I have no idea.
Oh my God, this is going to be a fail.
I don't even know what Feedly is.
Is this a throwaway? This is a throwaway episode.
All right, so it sounds as though, looking at this...
I think Moritz did.
Okay. Do you know what it's for, Moritz?
Yeah, so Feedly basically replacement for Reader. So it is an RSS reader for that was developed by some third-party people, but they're using Google's cloud platform, and they were writing a guest article on the blog from the cloud platform team, and they were explaining how they are able to serve 15 million users without any disruptions, and then delivering good quality with their service. And I think it's just probably worth mentioning or discussing this whole topic with the panel. If not, just skip it.
Any thoughts, panel?
None at
I
all.
don't know anything about
When
it.
I saw this post, I was just like, okay, great. I'm not using Google Cloud Services yet. This was more of an advertising ploy to get people to start. Oh, well, look, Feedly runs off Google Cloud. Google Cloud Services. Let's take a look at it. I'll look at it sometime in the future, maybe next year or so.
Okay, excellent. Are we on the... That just switched now. Are we on the download original topic now? Is that correct?
I saw this post today that you are now able to download the enhanced version of a Google Plus Photo from your albums, as well as the original version.
I don't think that's new. I think I've done this before. I think you can about a month, no, about 3 months ago, I think.
Really?
Yeah. I took a photo, and it was like a landscape, right? One of those epic shots, and then it made it really pretty. And I went to download it to send it to somebody because I really liked the enhanced version. And I think it said, which version do you want to download? The original or the enhanced? And then you could pre-select, regular or either no enhanced or medium or high or whatever it is.
You hover over download, and then it's like a sub-menu, and it has two links down, like enhanced and original.
It may be a different layout there, but I think I was able to either make a decision, do I want to download the single or the original version versus the enhanced version. Now maybe it's different for someone if it's not their photo, right? Because I found that they had really done a cool job enhancing my photo, so I downloaded it. But maybe if you're looking at someone else's profile, then it behaves differently. I'm not sure. Here we get back to it's tough to.
Yeah, well,
you can't
I
really
just
debate when when a new thing started
share
because there's no
that.
specific versions you can test.
Anyway, probably we should skip all the rest of the topics I put in.
No, we're good. All right.
I mean, I was like out of town for 2 weeks and was not really following the history of what's going on.
No, you're awesome.
But what's new is Chrome Remote for Desktop, which launched, I think, yesterday or the day before.
Which one?
So we had Chrome Desktop, Chrome Remote for Desktop. So we had that for a while for Chrome as an app. But now it is available for Android, so you can basically use your Android to connect to your computer at home remotely.
So what?
And you could use your Nexus 7 to control your computer, basically.
Yeah.
Or any Android platform. So basically, it's like a go to my PC or whatever.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
your.
Yeah.
That's all powered by Chrome.
Powered by Chrome. You forgot your logo next to your statement.
This is an argument for Chrome to be on desktop sized devices because it's not practical on a 7-inch screen or less or whatever to you could do it on like an iPad or like a Nexus 10.
There's some time
Kinda,
crunch use
sorta.
cases that you'd find yourself in. So, like, if there's a scenario where, I forgot to put this on Google Drive or whatever, I need to get that drug to Google Drive, then that would be I only have my.
I think Kadeus just hit his mute button.
Oh, there it goes. You didn't hear what I said? I don't know. Never
Nope.
mind. Forget it.
We
We
need to
heard part of the use case and then you cut off. Like dragging something into Google Drive.
Yeah, like if you oh shoot, I forgot to drag this into Google Drive, and you are in a scenario where you don't have all your other devices, but you could remote back to your desktop to do that drag. You can do that. I mean that'd be.
The scenario I just thought of. You can have your mainframe system, which Kadeus, you don't know what those are, but real computers that can actually send you messages with problems. You can have them send messages to your phone, text you that something's wrong. Now you could use your tablet to get back to a terminal that connects to the mainframe, without having to have a special. You don't have to have a unique app on your tablet to connect to every different mainframe you go to. You can have your tablet go with the RDP app back to your desktop in the office and connect from there to any system in the office you need to get to.
Okay.
So when I saw the first link for this, I could not figure out what was new because it didn't mention Android. And I thought, I've been using this Chrome remote RDP for a remote desktop protocol for, I don't know, a year. It feels like maybe it's been a year. And then just now I found out from you guys that it's an Android app. That's the whole big new thing. That's good. Now I see the purpose.
Couple of quick comments here. To vindicate Captain Euro about the body bag, he said, yeah, I was on the phone with the police for 20 minutes. And then Richard Arkless says he would pay to see Craig use an Android device like a Nexus. And
I've
Craig-
actually
Do
played
that
with
for like a week. Don't play with it. Get one and use it for a week.
I've been close
do a
to
review.
buying. I've been close to buying an Android phone a couple of times there in Costco. I always stop and play with them and check them out. And I would have probably bought the HTC One if they didn't put those gimmicky dual cameras on there. I mean, why don't they just put one good camera instead of putting two lousy cameras? I mean, they always get close to the mark, and then they screw something up that's a major thing for me.
What's wrong with the
Camera's
S5?
major. Huh?
What's wrong with the S5?
It's also got a lousy camera.
One thing we're
The
going to talk
S5
about
has
Monday.
a lousy camera?
Yep. They jammed too many megapixels on that tiny little sensor, so it's terrible in low light.
Okay.
I don't understand why these people don't talk to a couple of photographers and find out what photographers care about instead of having the bragging rights that I've got more megapixels, right? The last thing I want is more megapixels. I want good megapixels, big ones that work.
So what would you say is the best cell phone camera?
I think it's still the iPhone right now. I don't think anything's touched it yet. It's a
Mine's pretty freaking good. I'm telling you. I
Which
can
one
even
do you
do
have?
really the Note 3.
I think
might be
even
pretty good, but
I
I
mean,
don't think it's as good as the iPhone. But it
in
might be-
Craig's defense, I think even the new HTC One camera is not as good as the iPhone 5.
Well,
no,
no,
that's a
I
4
think it's
megapixel.
worse. I think it's worse than the previous one because they
Yeah,
put
it
two
is.
cameras on it. Why did they do that? Just put one good camera on there.
No, I mean,
No,
isn't
no,
that a push
I
for
need-
3D
I need
or
the
something?
front- No, I need the front camera too.
No, I mean it's got two on the back pan.
Yeah, 2 on
Oh,
the back.
It's got
pan.
3 cameras.
Oh, that sucks.
2 on the back, and 1 on the front.
No.
And it's the same price, so you know they had to pay less for the 2 cameras because they got 2, right?
So what
Is
do you
there-
think? So have you played with the Galaxy NX?
Galaxy NX.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. What's that?
So it's a DSLR and Android combined.
Oh yeah, we've talked about this
okay,
about a
I've
year
heard
ago.
about
This
that,
is
but
that.
No, I haven't played with it.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
you're
is the
okay.
This is the kind of almost like an
Oh.
NEX7 camera with an HPSC sensor that has a smartphone back.
Are you
so
sure it's
almost-
an APS-C?
Yeah, it is.
sensor?
Yeah, we checked.
Yeah, I think we looked it up. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Kadeas? What are the pros and cons?
I have no cons so far besides me almost losing it at the ocean. I have no cons on it whatsoever. I love it. It's probably the best camera I've ever bought in my life.
How
So
long
far.
have you had it?
8 days.
Oh, really? So it's
Yeah.
it a new model?
Yeah, new model. It's got LTE in it, so every picture you take it goes right up to Google Plus, auto backup, whole 9 yards.
So it's probably pretty good in low light.
It is very good in low light.
Yeah, we reviewed that. It was announced almost a year ago, I would say, Kadeas, right?
It was supposed to come out in September, and then I think it only came out in the UK, and then something happened and it disappeared, and now it's being sold everywhere.
Yeah. So imagine
Phone call from it?
we love the ability of with your phone to be able to use all these magical camera apps and stuff, and immediately upload to Google Plus and
Auto backup.
auto backup, right? And but there's always that compromise on the lens. So this
Exactly.
combines the best of both.
And the sensor
Yeah.
also.
But this is an APS-C style sensor. It's a camera. It's got an Android back. And can you use any Android camera app on this thing?
You sure can. What I was gonna, hey Craig, if you go and take a look at my profile, I made an event where I was just playing around with the camera and stuff, and so there's video and photos from the camera.
Okay.
So you can go and click around on Google Plus and take a look at that and tell me what you think.
So as soon as
Yes,
you
can
get
make a
back,
phone call from it?
Say it again.
Michael?
Can you make a phone call from it?
You can through Hangouts. so you definitely
So
can. You can. Yeah.
Is
you
it
go-
solid?
Essentially, it's a
Yes.
Physically, hardware-wise, it's a solid device?
Yeah, it's a solid device. Believe me, I dropped it. It bounced off every rock and almost went out in the ocean. So, and it's still it's not a scratch on it. It's definitely solid. Lens is great. So,
You'd have said a rare naughty word if it had actually ended up in the ocean.
I'll tell you, Kadesh, you don't want to drop a Sony. I dropped my A7R and the lens had to go in for $600 worth of repair, and I didn't drop it very far. I dropped it about 2 feet.
I'd return this thing and swap it out if I actually had some problems. And no, this went flying. It was either me or the ocean, so this went flying. So.
How do you compare the build with like a a Galaxy? I mean, is it better or the same? Like a phone?
Is it compared to that scenario, it's a little more doable. I know the speaker's really, really loud, so I had to turn it down because I get notifications, like all my Android notifications. If you send me a Hangout message, this thing will blow you away. So,
so it's a fully functional
it's fully
Android
functional
device.
See, there's notifications there, but yeah, it's fully functional. So
really, it's more instead of my analogy of a phone with a camera hooked up to it, it's more like a tablet with a camera hooked up to it.
Yeah, because literally here is Hangouts, and so literally I can join the Hangout here. Like there's the Hangout going on, and I can hit the green bar and join right in. So like it's a full blown, and then the video comes from here. But when I tested it. So it's just notifications get lower. That's an email.
So as soon as you walk back in from an event or something you photographed, let's say you go, you and Charlie go out and hang out at the fair or whatever and do photos, then as soon as you came back, it would start uploading that stuff.
Well, what's good is that it has a SIM card in it, so it's gonna upload right after I take the picture. So down.
Right.
So like it's right after I take the picture, so it's gonna upload right away.
I'm looking at the photos now. I'm looking at the GIFs, like the water running in.
Yeah, that was Google Plus.
Now, did you take all of these with that camera?
Is it okay if he screen shares, Kadeas?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it okay?
Yeah, screen share. That's a public event. So.
Well, let me see here.
I just want to say that because Craig and I are both getting pinged lately from Google.
Okay, so all right, so there's one that I'm looking at. That was taken. That was a series of photos you took, and then Google made the GIF.
That's Snap it in. Google made the GIF. Yeah.
Okay. So let me click here and go to another one here.
Actually, that was the one right before I got washed away and almost drowned.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's when I dropped the camera. Actually, that video there. And you see
the videos look good too. They really do. Now, if you actually hold the camera fairly steady, does the stabilization work pretty good?
It does. It works very, very good. Now, my complaint is, since this is the mirrorless platform, my complaint would be I feel like I get a little bit better video quality out of like my other DSLR than I would get out of the mirrorless. But photos, this thing still beats everything that I've taken. And the other person that went with me, if you look through there, you'll see in the event there's another person. He had a Canon 5D Mark III that he was taking his pictures with, and these still look a lot better than his.
Now, will this shoot 60 frames a second for video?
It does 60 frames at 720p and 30 at 1080p.
Okay, good.
What about focus speed? Let's say you were recording, somebody's kid playing football or whatever. How quickly can you focus for stills? And also talk about the low light performance.
Here, I'll try to. Let me pull out some low light pictures real quick. As far as the focus, so far, what I've you're talking about for video when we're talking about focus on video, right?
Focus will be more stills, but also both, right?
Video focus, and again, I haven't done a lot of video yet with it. I plan on doing a lot of that this week, but from what I can tell, video focus I would prefer it to be a little bit faster, but I haven't really went down in the settings to see how much I can control the focus on video. For photos, it's amazing, so I don't have any complaints on the photo focus. It's pretty quick on how it focuses, and it's great from what I can tell. And
talking about?
Say it again.
How much money are we talking about?
I don't remember.
Is it $1,200 or a grand or something? I mean, it's not that much.
I know it was 17, and then there was something else going on in some promotion, so it was a little bit cheaper than that. But I think originally it's like $17.99 or something to that degree.
Now, with which lens comes with it?
This is the 1855 OIS.
It's like a 3.5 to 5.6 or something aperture.
Yeah, I don't know 100%. Yeah, it does say it on there.
Typical kit lens.
Yeah, it's just the basic.
Yeah.
Hold on, really quick. I'm trying to find a night shot.
It looks good.
Here's a night shot. Okay, so this is. I went all the way up to the top of one of our. I call them mountains, but I guess they're hills. And let me. Where's my screen share? There we go. Sorry guys, give me a second. Share screen. I gotta get a tab by itself. Oh yeah, this is stupid. It's another thing that I
get rid of all your naughty tabs before you screen share.
No naughty tab. There it goes. Google puts the screen share thing behind all your windows, and because I have so many, I feel like I'm digging in a pile to get to it.
This has got to
Okay,
be
here
a
we go.
disaster for like the MiFi card technology, because the cameras themselves are going to be duplicating that stuff and doing a lot better. So what do we have there,
Yeah.
Cadeas?
So this is a pitch black night, and the only thing that's out there is foggy.
That's a
And so
tripod
because-
shot, right?
That's definitely a tripod shot, right? But yeah, this is one of the photos from the night shot. So
That's gorgeous. That's the biggest problem
there's another really good one from the night shot.
with the Nexus 7 or the NEX 7 is the focus.
Oh, that's glass pictures. But yeah, I don't know why I only have one of those. I thought I had more than that. But yeah, so yeah, that's one of the night shots. So
Dan, you have problems with your NEX7 focusing on stills?
I
I
mean,
don't mind
yeah.
focus is good on stills.
I just did that shoot where I got what was it? Where you were commenting that I had too many or something the other day, and
I mean, what? What?
I can't remember. It was I was getting B-roll for the video we did, and there were shots that I took where it was just obviously nothing relevant was in focus, and there were cases where I've done videos where I'm talking to someone, I'm interviewing them, using making a video, and the focus would shift between the person talking on camera and the wall, back and forth, and so then I had to just sort of either your choice is take a bunch of pictures and hope one of them works, or manually focus and hope the person doesn't move.
Well, or you can use spot focus. You don't have to use the. You probably just have it in the intelligent auto mode, but if you put it in one of the other modes, you can have a spot focus, like a little square, and you can put that on whatever you want and let it focus on that. That's the way I usually shoot all my pictures.
another
So-
thing that this thing has, Craig, when you go to do the if you want to actually look through I don't know all the terms, but if you want to, instead of using the screen, if you want to look through, all you do is just put your face up there, and it'll automatically, Samsung, so it'll automatically switch over.
Yeah.
And then it's not since it's not mirrors, it's an actual screen in there, but it's a really good representation. So.
Well, for that price, it should. It should have a good EVF. I mean, for an APS-C camera, I mean that's a premium price, so it should all be premium quality. It sounds
Yeah,
like
it's
it
really,
is.
really good. It really is really good, and to drop it and everything else, and it's
Yeah.
still 100%.
But it's kind of neat, the whole concept of being able to use any of the Android apps you want that are photography apps, and also to be able to come in from an event and just set your camera down on the counter and go take a shower or whatever and eat lunch.
That's the thing, though, and you won't have
all
to
your
do that
stuff's
with
backed
this.
up by the time you're done.
But that's the thing, you don't have to do that. The SIM card's in there, so as soon as you take the picture, it's available. So that's why I was testing it out with events to see how it works, if it works well with party mode with events. And it does, as long as you don't
You
try to
can
record.
probably tell it what size image to upload. It doesn't have to always upload the full size image if you don't want to, right?
Yeah, you could. I mean, you mean, yeah, because you have the two. You got RAW and JPEG. So yeah, you can go in and say it's really auto backup. So you're just doing whatever you edit your auto backup settings, and as soon as you get a picture, it's doing the usual that it does with your phone. But like here, like these are all the like I use the Pro HDR is another one that I played. That I only took one or two pictures with the Pro HDR. So that's another one that I.
Well, if if you're covering an event, especially a time-sensitive news event, and you want to be snapping pictures and you want to have them up on the web right away, I mean that's a perfect solution.
And you can push them to Drive, push them to wherever
Can
you
you
want.
push the video clips too?
They go right up. All of it, like all that stuff was uploaded in real time to that event. So everything you see there is all real time. It was posted
Yeah,
real
so
time.
see, Dan, you could have somebody back at the office aggregating all of it, right? You could have him out there shooting and dumping it all up, and then you could be choosing which ones to show.
But it's not like 4G, right? It's just Wi-Fi.
No, it's LTE. That's why I had to get a SIM card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's LTE.
Okay. Can we?
Oh, okay.
So you would want to have an unlimited data plan if you were doing that. You'd
All right,
want to be
so-
on Sprint.
Yeah. So
No, you don't want to be on Sprint. They don't have SIM cards, Craig.
Or you'd want to be on something unlimited, right? Aren't you going to run up against your
Well, we'll
cap?
save this for our Android week.
Thank you.
It's the Android camera.
Yeah, so we just wanted to briefly touch on the whole Samsung NX topic there.
This is the only part of the show that's even useful. Just saying.
All right, so next up, Google buys Titan and Facebook is mad. What's the story about? Is Morris still with us? This is the
No.
Drones, right?
the drone thing. What do you think about this? Is it they're trying to? This is part of their quest to deliver internet
Yeah.
via drone. This could actually be a solution to the problem that most of us have. I think 30% of the country has only one option for broadband. I mean, real internet, real fast internet. By definition, when I say real fast, I mean like by non-Google Fiber definition. Another 40% has two options. So that's 70% that has one or two options. And then the rest of the 30% has three or more options. And Fios is not being rolled out anymore to any new territories. So here we are. And basically, it's a de facto monopoly. I mean, you can get DSL, which sucks. Although it's getting better. There's new technologies coming out. But still, it's nothing like what cable could do if they wanted to. And here we are. So what do you guys think about this? Is the answer drones or balloons or whatever else you want to say on this?
Well, I'll chime in. I don't know that we know the answer. I think that's what Google is figuring out, is working on figuring out. There are lots of options, apparently, that I have to say they're being extremely creative with the ways to solve the problem, and I'm admiring that. They're testing it. They're testing Loon over the northern Nevada plains, I guess they're called. And I don't know where the drones are going to be tested, but I'm excited to see that they ended up getting this instead of Facebook, because I would like to have this technology initiative concentrated in the hands of people that are going to do something with it. I don't have faith that Facebook would do that.
Well, there's nothing stopping Facebook from doing it as well. I mean, they bought one. A lot of companies are working with drones and with similar technology, so there's nothing stopping Facebook from doing it. I think the big question is, what kind of speeds can we get? What kind of latency is there going to be? Now, I think these are more for outlying areas that can't get anything, that have to use like a satellite dish or whatever.
As you pointed out a number of times, Craig, that's most of the country in the U.S.
Well, but again, I think that's something that needs to be fixed. I think that's
the fix for that.
There has to be a groundswell, and people have to wrap their head around the fact that the internet is here to stay, and that countries that are going to be competitive going forward are going to have high-speed internet everywhere, and that everybody's going to have access to it. And if we don't do it, and other countries are doing it as we speak, we're going to fall behind. We're going to become a third-world country.
Well, I don't probably take the defeatist attitude that represents, but
that's a bit of a stretch, yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it. We're being left behind by Africa right now. They're leapfrogging us. They're going from having nothing to having fiber running to everybody. And these countries that are able to
Where did you read or hear that Africa is having fiber run to everybody and that we're a third world nation?
There are countries that are doing it right now. They're doing it right now. And what's happening is they're leapfrogging us because they skipped all the copper wire and all the cable and all that, and they've gone straight to fiber. And it's happening.
They're not doing it. To be fair, Craig, they're not doing it to everybody. There are millions of people.
Some of the countries are. Some of the countries are wiring everybody.
Yes, some of the countries are. But that's not everybody.
I don't want to be left behind by those countries. There's no reason why the United States of America needs to be asleep at the switch on this one. We can run fiber to every household and every business in this country if there's the fortitude to do it, and if people decide that it's warranted and that it should be a priority.
So, Craig, do you plan on paying for this?
Everybody will pay. You know, people want to be on the internet, and let's say they pay $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever they pay, right? That's enough. That's enough to pay for it. It's not that much. Once you wire them, then it's just a maintenance thing, keeping it all maintained and keeping the switches maintained and all of that. And if you get enough subscribers, you should be able to pay for that. And yes, if it costs some money over and above that initially to get it started and so forth, it's certainly worth doing it. The alternative is being left behind. Do we really want to be left behind?
No, clearly not. I think that's true.
I think I shall move to the Sudan so I can get broadband finally.
Don't you joke? But there are people that are doing that. There are companies that are relocating to areas
To
that
Africa.
are forward-looking.
Is there? I mean, I've lived in Africa.
Well,
I could tell you that,
sensible.
like, it's not. I mean,
There are people-
we had generators to get electricity, and you could use water several hours a day. I mean, you know, this is not the Africa I know.
Well, you're using a broad brush, like all of Africa is the same, right? It is not. There are pockets that are very progressive, that are forward-looking, that are technology positive, and that
But
exciting
you're
things
not. You're not doing that, right, Craig? You're not. You're not painting Africa with a broad brush.
Am I
Right?
thinking about moving there? Yes.
Africa has fiber everywhere, just about everywhere.
Am I thinking about moving there? Yes, I am. I absolutely am.
Do you know the languages?
A lot of the places
Right.
they speak English.
Even the accents?
A
Oh,
lot of
I
the
say, I'm
places they
telling you. All right.
Hey, you laugh, but I'm telling you that these things are happening, and we're just asleep at the switch. You all are clueless. You don't have an idea what's going on around the rest of the world. And
Wait a
some of
minute,
these
wait a minute,
places-
wait a minute.
Some
Dude,
of
I
these
travel.
places,
What are you
some
talking
of these
about?
places are progressive and are forward-looking and are technology positive and don't have their heads buried in the sand.
I mean, basically, our whole system is on the take.
So
These companies come in and they, you know, donate to the right people or schmooze the right people, and then they get a de facto monopoly. And one of the problems is that because it's based on a cable delivery system for the last mile, it doesn't make sense for multiple companies to come in to the same place, especially if they're spread apart. It'd be easy for, you know, a rich condominium to have multiple providers, but it would not make sense for a bunch of spread out people, for that guy who has the house on the mountain, for multiple providers to run cable to him, hoping that, you know,
We don't
he's
need
gonna
that,
choose
Dan. All we
them.
need is the fiber run to him, and then multiple providers can provide services over that fiber. It's just like the highways. The highways run to a certain place, right? UPS can use that highway. FedEx can use that highway. You know, a whole bunch of people can use that
So
highway.
who's paying for the fiber to be laid then?
Yes, there should be fiber running to every business, to every
But
residence.
who is paying for
Everybody
that?
should be connected.
Who is paying for the fiber to be laid then, since it's not one corporation's fiber? It's everybody's fiber. Who's paying for it? The government?
The government could coordinate it, but it could be
Well,
done with
last-
private with contracts,
I
just
mean, the
like
last time
roads,
we did this,
same way you
we
build
had
roads.
government initiative laid copper to all the households in the country, all the households and all the businesses in the country, right? In the same way that we got electricity to all the houses
That's
in
right.
the country.
That's right.
Electricity in the whole country by having a government initiative that was called the Rural Electrification Act, which unfortunately we still have and don't need. Those bureaucracies never go away once we have them, unfortunately, but we needed it when we needed it, and that's completely legitimate use of government resources. If they could put an end date to it, I would support the idea of having a government
Yeah, and
that
Michael,
spread
this,
fibers.
this is a case. This is a case where it really shouldn't cost that much money because people are willing to pay for internet access, the vast majority. And so even if they just pay $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever it is they pay, right? Over time, you're going to get that money back. I would opine that it's probably not as expensive to run fiber to every house as it is to run roads to every house. I would say that you can run the fiber along the roads and so on and so forth, and it probably costs less than building the road. And we built the roads, we had good reason to build them, right? I think we have even more reason to build out the internet. But the people, they've got their heads so buried in the sand that they don't get it. And you got people like Dan McDermott that don't understand that this has to be done. How are we going to be competitive around the world if we're in the dark ages when it comes to the internet? I don't understand. Why don't these people get this?
I'm for it.
Like Dan McDermott,
one of the
right?
problems is that often municipalities are hamstrung. In Virginia, my state, for example, I'm for, just like the government is allowed to have a water utility and an electrical utility. In fact, my business is based in Front Royal, Virginia, and they have their own electrical company, and they literally have the cheapest electricity in the state and one of the cheapest rates in the nation, because the town, we're talking a town of like 15, 20,000 people, they decided that they would invest in an
That
AMP
are all
Ohio
brothers and
project.
sisters, I might add.
Huh?
That are all brothers and sisters, I might add, and cousins.
Well,
Go ahead.
there's several family strange, at least 3 or 4. But we jest. But yeah, so it's got the cheapest electricity in the entire Commonwealth of Virginia. And the water, I was looking at an article in a competitor newspaper, and they said, they were talking about what does a gallon of water cost. I mean, actually, when you turn your tap on, what does it cost? And the rates were like a penny to 1.25 cents to 1.5 cents. And in Front Royal, it was 0.5 cents or 0.6 or whatever, depending on your volume. And so I'm for allowing utilities to straight up get in the freaking broadband business and wire people up and use their existing electrical stuff if it works, or whatever they have to do. But in Virginia, just like we're seeing the battles that are playing out with Tesla and other companies trying to innovate and getting pushback from the municipalities, in Virginia, it's illegal for a municipality to offer a broadband unless they're like totally competitive with the prices that the local company offers and the tiers of service that they offer. Well, then what's the freaking point?
That's right. That's why there needs to be a groundswell of public opinion and people, because there's so much corruption and so many behind the scenes, smoke-filled room deals that have been struck, giving all these monopolies away. And unless the people rise up and realize that we're being left behind here, that we're getting screwed, royally screwed, unless they realize this. And Google did a great job of presenting the case several years ago when they put that video up, and they showed the progression. They showed Moore's law. They showed CPUs and how they're getting more powerful every 2 years, or doubling or whatever. And they showed the cost of storage, how the price of it's going down, cut in half every 2 years. And they showed this graph, right? And those two things are like going way up, right? Everything's getting better with both those. And then they showed the speeds of cable modems, and it was like a flat line, right? So they did a great job demonstrating that. Excuse me, Michael?
It sounds to me like we're getting front royally screwed.
Yeah, they did a good job of demonstrating how we are getting totally screwed over by the big cable companies and other incumbents. And we need to educate the people, and Google, I think, needs to do a better job of educating the people. They're trying. They're taking baby steps to do it. But I don't think baby steps are good enough. I think that somebody, and I'm hoping it would be Google, maybe Apple, maybe somebody, needs to figure it out and say, we're going to fix this problem. We're going to make sure everybody gets fiber.
There was, well,
high-speed
okay,
internet.
you say fiber. The issue is, the second part of what you just said is the important thing. Everyone gets high-speed internet. And the head of Sprint, the new chairman, not Hesse, the CEO or whatever he is, but the chairman, the head of SoftBank, who owns Sprint now, he said that they have new technology that will allow, through what we think of as LTE or whatever, antennas, that it will allow them to deliver like 400 megabits per second internet
I've heard these
over
claims about,
the air,
Yeah,
I've
Sprint's
heard
always-
wirelessly, and that's a whole lot cheaper. than,
I've heard these
you know,
claims
sending a
about
cable to
wireless for
somebody.
years. I've heard these claims about wireless for years and how you can get these super fast speeds and so forth. And on my phone, even when I've got a good LTE connection and I do a speed test, right, and the speed test is showing it's pretty damn good,
Use your service
Then-
provider, Craig.
then just try getting in a Hangout and seeing what your quality's like and see how long it holds up and so forth. I don't think it's as stable. I think there's a bunch of issues related to wireless. I think it's good for, I think we need both. I think we need fiber going to every residence and every business, so everybody has a nice, solid, super fast connection when they're at home. And then I think we also need super fast LTE everywhere where we're out and about. And I think there's no reason why we shouldn't have both. I do not buy into the argument that it's too expensive to run fiber to every house. I think just like we have plumbing going to every house, we have roads going to every house, we should have fiber going to every house. And I don't think we should accept anything less.
That's the last word there. Pam Adger, in Menifee, California. How was your Google Plus week?
Uneventful, as usual. because I never post anything controversial.
Oh yeah.
Which all this translates to, she can't talk about it on the air.
She
in a
wasn't
public
banned
air.
this week, so it was uneventful. Basically.
Yeah, I got nothing. Nothing got banned. So no, it was a good week. I took today off work, and so I'm kind of in lazy mode today. So
Good for you.
Yeah.
Michael Ellis, how was your Google Plus week, sir?
Well, actually, it was great because I came back to the United States and I was able to immediately get on Google products of all kinds without using any VPN to bypass the Great Firewall of China. And that made me very happy.
Tell me about the
I
people.
caught a cold, so
When you'd like be in a restaurant or coffee shop or whatever they have in China, and you just run into somebody and they knew English, and maybe they struck up a conversation with you, knowing that you were an American. What are the what was that? What were those encounters like, and what do you have to say about just the experience? Just as the tourist side of your business trip.
yeah, I didn't really have any encounters with a lot of.
You didn't meet any
like,
Chinese people in China?
I almost said un-American, but that's not really what I meant. By people who were not, I didn't have very many encounters with people who spoke English but were not American. I had a few encounters with Europeans who spoke English, of course, who wanted a chance to say something to someone who spoke English. But the Chinese, in my experience, didn't really want to engage with me in English. So many of them couldn't, and the rest that I encountered just didn't. And I don't know if I really never figured out if it's because I'm with a guide who's employed by the Chinese government who makes sure that I only see the things I'm supposed to see. I never had that feeling. I never had the feeling I was being shuttled anywhere in particular. I never had the feeling I was being dissuaded from talking about anything I wanted to talk about. I asked hard questions that I even felt a little uncomfortable asking myself, but I wanted to know what they thought about it. And I think I got genuine answers back that would have made the government unhappy. So it was confusing.
You had
because-
did you had government handlers the whole time? Seriously?
Not handlers. I hired guides to take me around Beijing because I didn't speak the language and I didn't want to be out in a place where I had no idea where I was. I couldn't read the maps. I couldn't ask for directions. So I hired
That's the
2
fun
different
part
days.
about traveling. You want to be. It's fun.
That's not fun for me.
Okay,
I
I'm
love
going to
to
ask you a
travel.
question. You got to promise me you'll give me an honest answer, Mr. Ellis.
Okay.
What does a handler cost for a day in Beijing? What does it cost to hire someone to guide you through Beijing, China, for the day?
So I have to tell, as full disclosure, I did have a full massage while I was there, but it was not full body handling.
I'm
Let's
talking
just be
just
clear.
like it was a legit question. I wasn't being funny. Like seriously, what does it cost to have an employee who can, like a handler, just to work you through the awkward moments when no one speaks English or what have you?
I got on 2 different days. I had 2 students who were volunteers as docents. I'll call them docents or tour guides at the Summer Palace in Beijing. They did that for volunteers so they could practice their English. I hired one each different day, and I paid them 500 yuan for that service for the day. And they were my private guide for the entire day, and they took me everywhere. They told me about the places we were visiting. They took me anywhere I expressed an interest in going. They took me there. I paid for all the taxis, and I bought their meals. And if we stopped and had a snack because they suggested this is a typical Beijing thing, you've got to have this yogurt in a jar, everybody eats this, or you've got to have this lotus root. This is common in Beijing. This particular dish is from Canton, and this particular dish is from wherever. So I did all of that, and so 500 yuan a day.
That's
how much
$80.
is that?
That's $80.
Translates to about $80, $90, something like that, for a day for a student. And you know what? They both students told me, truthfully, I'm not doing it for the money. Oh, sure, I'll take the money. The money's not.
That doesn't sound like that's that bad. I paid a lot less in Moscow for a driver. Not only a guide, but a driver.
I've lived in countries where it was like literally 50 cents an hour for skilled labor. It was crazy. And they were like middle class, So you had fun and you got to meet some cool people, it sounds like, and you had actually better broadband from China than you do stateside sometimes.
Sometimes it's
which
true.
is an argument for Craig's point. If you can talk to us literally from across the ocean more efficiently.
I have to say, I did not very often have that experience. I had it on one night for the show, but most of the time the internet connection was absolutely horrible. Horrible. Like unusable, couldn't get email. That's how bad it was.
Well, you're primarily at hotels, right? I mean, they're known for being terrible everywhere.
But even in the office, I had this trouble, and we have a good line there. There's a real throttling of Google services.
All right, question, real quick question, and then I'm gonna go to Cadeas. When we go to a U.S. Chinese restaurant, or one in London, right? A Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
How does that compare to actual Chinese restaurants? Is there I know there's like Kung Pao chicken. The Chinese person would be like, "What the hell's that?"
Yeah,
but
right. Although I did go somewhere where they had Kung Pao chicken on the menu, and they bragged about it because they pointed it out to all the Americans at the table.
So tourist trap, yeah.
Yes, apparently. The food is really exotic for Americans. It's very different than any I've ever seen in a Chinese restaurant in the U.S. And I love Chinese food in the U.S. So now,
Michael, what's wrong with the pig face now? What's wrong with freeze-dried pig faces? I mean, there's nothing wrong with eating that.
I didn't have any
I'm not
pig
joking
faces,
now.
But I did everything under the sun. I had jellyfish way more times than I can count, and I don't need it again anytime
What does it taste
soon.
like? Gross.
Nothing, or whatever sauce it's in. I'd say it's the veal of the seafood world, because it absorbs the flavors of everything it's in, and it has absolutely no taste of its own. But it's crunchy, which makes no sense to me at all because it's jellyfish, but it is crunchy.
I'm kind of grossed out now. This reminds me, and I'm going to go to Cadeas, get ready. I saw a post, I forget where it was, but it was like what chefs think the best and worst cuts of meat are for beef. And they almost every single one of them said that filet mignon that the filet was the worst cut, or the most, what's the most overrated and underrated? And almost every single one said the most overrated cut of meat is the filet, because it's flavorless, it's fatless, and it is tender, but it's overpriced. It's not worth it. And then they listed all this stuff, and Chuck was kind of like highly rated, but it was really interesting because like everyone thinks like, oh, filet, you know, I'm going to spend what I got to spend to get it. And they said that it was basically a scam and garbage meat. So that was really interesting. Cadeas Kalut in Newport Beach, California. How was your Google Plus week, sir?
It was not very eventful besides my little events thing that I play with my camera, and yeah, that's really been it this week. Playing with the camera and Google Plus and events.
You may be the only person I know who spends more on the latest gadgets than Craig Shipp. What's your annual gadget budget? I want you to publicly disclose that.
I can publicly disclose that. If it's something I want, I get. So if I don't want it, I don't get it. So
wow. Essentially, Cadeas has no budget. There's no limit.
That's why he's a star of Japanese screen and stage.
I'm just hoping to become good enough friends with Cadeas that he'll give me his old gadgets when he no longer wants them.
Absolutely.
You have to fight Charlie for that.
and Pam might have a few gadgets of her own she could return to you.
Oh my goodness. Gadgets Pam would give you, I don't know. You would probably have to discuss that.
But that's our other program, which is unlisted.
On Thursdays, apparently.
It happens at 1 a.m.
At 1 a.m. on, I think it's on the Stars channel, unlisted YouTube stream. So you had a good week, Cadeas.
Yeah, I almost died. How about that?
If you could perhaps elaborate, that would be great.
Yeah, no, I can't swim. So when the ocean tried to take me away and my camera and everything else, I had to fail. What are you laughing so hard for, Bill? Yeah, so no,
I gotta teach you how to swim, Cadeas.
There's some rocks that I saw, and I was like, that would be interesting if we could get to those rocks and take pictures from those rocks. And so I had a international Japanese student with me and an international Chinese student with me. So they're just following me and hopping and skipping along from rock to rock like I was. And so now we're like out, pretty far out there in this ocean. Like we're at as far out as you can go before it's the actual ocean. And I was looking at it, I was like, oh, this water isn't going anywhere. It's not going to happen. And so I'm down. Actually, that shot that Craig was looking at, I was taking that shot. And as soon as I stood up, they was like, oh. And I turned around. I was like, what are y'all screaming for? And it's like, oh, the water almost came up. And so then the other dude screamed in Japanese. He screamed, the big one is coming. And I'm like, what is he talking about? As soon as I said that, this wave just came up. It was like, almost like I thought I was gonna get washed out. I was like, should I start running? No, it's too late. I'm gonna slip and fall. So I just stand here. So the water came to about like my upper stomach, and then I took my camera, was like holding it straight up, trying to make sure it didn't get wet. And then finally it washed away, and there were some people that saw us out there, so they were starting to make their way, and they changed their mind after they saw that. They turned around and went back. So,
surely at least a Japanese kid knew how to swim.
I can
probably. I didn't is what it was.
I can teach you how to swim.
No, that's okay. I'll just stay away from those rocks. I broke the rules before, so.
But you really should learn how to swim.
It won't take very long.
No, that's okay.
We don't have to do Olympic swimming. We could just do the bare minimum. I am qualified to teach you how to swim if you're interested.
Okay.
Nobody alive should not know how to swim.
What I've learned is that whenever I get in a scenario where I'm in the water, where I find myself literally about to drown, for some reason I can swim. I can swim then. But if you say, hey, let's go swimming, I can get in the water and I'll sink. But if I'm literally in fear of my life, for some reason, every single instance I've been able to swim, stay on top, and make it to the shore at top speed. So I don't know what it takes, but it works.
I gotta ask, does this happen a lot?
No, not anymore. But throughout my life, there's been periods where
So,
where
so he lives at a place called Newport Beach.
and I'm
Yeah,
always
you'd
and
think-
I'm always ready to go. I'm always ready to run. Tsunami coming, I'm out of here. I ain't got time to be swimming. Just get out of here.
Man, okay, so I'll do mine real quick, and then Craig, get ready because you're next. My Google Plus week was great. It was very, very busy because I had to put the newspaper out, and I was working on this video we did for the Area Guides Network, and it turned out pretty good. So I'm excited about that, and the paper was a good issue, and it's I'm in a tourist town, so in the wintertime, it's like the ads are down and there's not much going on, so it's very difficult to fill the paper up and with good quality stuff. And then you have the opposite problem in the spring and summer because the ads are up because the businesses know that they're going to, they want to get traffic during the peak time. And at the same time, the stories are up because there's more events going on. So it's like you're literally like trying to fill the paper in with features in one season, and the other season you're like apologizing to writers because you couldn't fit their story in. So it's kind of a crazy mix. You wish there was just a happy medium all year, but such is life. But I am excited about the video we just did, and progress forward. Craig Shipp, how was your Google Plus week, sir?
Good, good. A real quick question about the video. Did you share it on your Google Plus yet?
Not yet. I was waiting to get feedback before I, because I
Maybe
still
you
have it
should
unlisted.
share it. Maybe you should share it, and we could ask the viewers to give their input on it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Craig, you shared it with me today, and I have it open, but I haven't watched it yet. I was planning to do it tonight.
Yeah, and I got some feedback. Jennifer liked it. Of course, Victor, who's in it, he liked it. Everything was in full caps with a whole bunch of exclamation points when he said how much he liked it. So I think everybody is impressed with the video. So I think we're ready to go full speed. Other than that, I had a great week. I drove up from Florida in 2 days. Usually I take 3 or 4 days to make the trip up. I came up in 2 days, and I got here, let's see, Saturday night, and within an hour I had my Comcast cable modem working, and I had my whole setup fully operational, which is unheard of for me to get on the phone with them and have it hooked up and fully operational that quick. That was pretty good. So I've had a fairly decent.
Do they still give you the new user price every time at both places?
They gave me a deal, but it's more than it was last year, but the speed is faster. I think I'm at a higher tier. Of course, you can't trust them. When you do the speed test, right, the numbers are real high, and that doesn't mean that you're going to have that same speed for, let's say, 2 hours straight, right? Let's say you're uploading some videos or whatever. I'm convinced that they dumb it down some.
With their business service, they don't, because I tested it.
Yeah, they probably
keep in
don't.
mind the speed test is as long as everything in between you and whatever you're connecting to is running at 100%. That's basically the speed between you and them.
Cadeas, I'm telling you, I did a test of this, and I was curious because Craig and I have had this conversation. Now he has the consumer level, and I have the business level, and then it's the most awesome scam. He lives in 2 places, right? Like what, 4 or 5 months at one place and 6, 7, 8 months at another place. So, and then he signs up for the first time with Comcast. Each time he gets the intro rate for 3 months or whatever it is. But
they always know. They always know I'm a past customer because they pull me up in the computer. But they still, she'll pull me up in the computer and verify the account and all that. And then I'll say, what plans do you have? She says, well, we've got such and such a plan, and for the first 6 months it's this price, right? Then after 6 months, it goes up to whatever. And I say, okay, all right, I guess I'll go ahead and take that. So, I mean, it's not like they don't know what I'm doing.
No, they
it's
know.
just funny that, like,
So
year on year. But the
6
thing is this, Cadeas, I actually did a test. I took one of our shows, which are anywhere from, 6 to 10 gigabytes, what the local recorded version. And I did the math, and I said, like, okay, I'm supposed to get what is it? 50 down and 10 up, 50 megabits per second up or down, and 10 megabits per second up with the Comcast whatever level I have.
Right.
And so I tested it, and I did the math, and it actually just slightly exceeded up and down. Going up was extremely consistent the whole time, and I actually got about 11 megabits per second up, and down was a whole bunch came right away quickly with a burst, and then it leveled off. But in the end, it was, again, about 10 or 20% above what I was supposed to get.
Okay.
And that was, I just randomly, for no reason other than to test this, I took one of our big ass files from this show, and I sent it up and back down from Drive.
Okay.
So I was very impressed. And then right before that, I did a speed test, because there's a big, the speed tests are BS, they're rigged. I did the test, and then I did this, and it pretty much matched. I mean, I actually was able to transfer this large file.
Right. What I'm saying, though, is that connectivity is going to be based upon, like, okay, let's say I have a slow connection, and you want, regardless of how fast your connection is, if you want to send me that big file, it doesn't matter how fast your connection is. If my connection's slow, then it's going to run slow. So what I'm saying is, right. So what I'm saying is that when you do the speed test, you're testing in between, basically in this scenario, you're testing in between Dan McDermott, Comcast, and that speed test server. But when you switch and you say, I want to go use Google Plus Hangouts or whatever else, that's a whole nother server. It's taking a totally different route. It could be a whole nother, that's why you're getting mixed readings. But what you're testing is basically the speed of your connection, because the speed test is supposed to be accurate, seeing as though that they have a great system and you are testing out your connection.
I hear what you're saying, but in my case, it matched.
Yeah, in your case, it's going to match because Google Drive runs great. Remember, we did the same test on the air a few weeks ago. So, yeah, that's good. But if you switch it, it's based on everything. It's not just a one.
Yeah, so what Cadeus is saying is if you're downloading from some server that has a terrible connection and so forth, it doesn't matter how fast you are because you're waiting on that weak link. But that's not normally the case. We're uploading videos to YouTube, or we're uploading it to things that should be pretty good, right?
Okay.
So I would be interested in, next time you do a big file upload, don't go out of your way, Dan, but you'll write down the numbers again and just see if you're consistently getting that kind of performance, because you may have gotten it in that one test. That doesn't mean that you're going to get it every time. But hopefully
in general, I'm fine. And I don't see a problem, but to both of your points, I do see an issue where when I watch a YouTube video, why does it take, it might take 2 seconds or 5 seconds before it switches to 1080, right? And I'm not sure if that, and I saw these charts with Netflix where they showed the average speed for Netflix versus all the carriers, and then after they started paying Comcast, then all of a sudden Netflix went way up, skyrocketed in speed.
With Netflix streaming? Is it always super high quality when you stream Netflix?
Yeah, it's pretty much, it's max the whole time.
So you've got a solid connection, and the other thing is you're in the middle of nowhere where probably nobody's using the internet except you. You probably got your own pipe.
There are several of us, Greg.
Yeah.
I don't know where you get that. There are at least a half dozen people.
You forgot you're in the middle of the forest, Dan.
A half dozen, and that's a lot.
At least, maybe 8.
Okay. And you're the only one with business class, probably.
I'm probably the only person within 10 miles with business class. Yeah.
So.
But it's all on the same wires. It's just different servers.
Yeah.
If it's even that, we don't know.
How many people live within 10 miles of you?
800. Maybe 1,000 people.
Oh, all right.
Within 10 miles. That's amazing.
I mean, literally, my backyard is the Shenandoah River. we I walk there often, and my housekeeper, who's a neighbor, she and I go walking around, and we see these epic views, and like we're looking at fish or whatever, and it's just beautiful. We just saw a seagull, and then I've seen bald eagles and stuff flying over there. It's just awesome, and it's literally like 100 yards behind me. I mean, it's
Now
fantastic.
the river, how much lower is it? Are you in the floodplain?
I am significantly uphill of the river, so
Okay.
yeah,
So you don't have to worry about the flood.
yeah, because the river by nature erodes over the years, so that's a
Well-
big thing with these tsunamis. You have to look at the geography about the terrain of the beach. If it's like I think we were talking about this, Craig, earlier a few days ago. If the beach is a big immediate drop off, then the tsunami is less likely to damage you. But if it's a long, very shallow beach, then you can really get hammered. And that's what's happened in India a couple times, where a tsunami will come in and wipe out like 100,000 people. It's awful. Kadeus, what you got?
Rich Hat wants to know why we're ending the show so early tonight. I was kind of curious on that too, but then
We're out of
think I kinda
topics.
figured it out.
We're not finished yet. We're going to be talking about the river for an hour and a half.
We'll leave that for Pam.
First of all, Dan, I'm sure there are areas where it's not that big a drop off to the river. I mean, I've been along the Shenandoah River, and it's not all like that. There's some areas where there's some fairly flat, like farmland that comes up to it, right?
Yeah, it's about what I'm talking about is underwater, the beach. A tsunami is a vibration.
Yeah, but we're back to the river now. We've switched back to the Shenandoah.
The Shenandoah is a very shallow river that has, I would not recommend consuming anything from it, because we've had male fish laying eggs. That's a whole issue in
Ooh.
itself, and
That,
we've polluted
although
the
I can
hell out of
imagine
it.
it's a new caviar market. all
Yeah,
of a
but aren't there
sudden.
areas where, what I'm saying is, aren't there areas where there's not a big drop off to the water, where it's fairly level coming up to the water, where like it's farmland or something kind of coming to the water, and there's maybe a 20
Oh,
foot
sure.
drop?
Oh,
So
sure,
there,
yeah.
in other words, there's areas where it would be a floodplain, where it would flood.
In fact, if you Google this, there's a video on YouTube about a flood in Front Royal, and it was I don't know if it was in the 80s or early 90s, but Peter Jennings is anchoring it. It's on ABC News, and they show video of like water, I mean, very deep, like 5 or 10 feet on the main street in town. So yeah, if all hell breaks loose, we could get hit.
But that would never reach you at your place.
Oh, it absolutely. Yeah, I'd be, c'est la vie, baby.
I thought you said there was a big drop off between your place and the river.
I mean,
How much drop?
I'm lower than the town. So,
So if you walk out of your door and you walk down to the river, how far down the hill do you walk?
I don't know. I would guess. I don't know. I mean, it's too much
50
up and
feet?
down to say. Maybe 50 feet. Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe
Well,
10
I
feet.
mean,
Maybe,
like for
maybe
example, let's say it's
300
50 feet. I would be shocked if the river would raise 50 feet.
I know that I've seen it on YouTube, and it's shocking because it's. I think I'm way up. I mean, I would guess it's in the 3 figures. So I think I'm fine, but I know that the town that, our main town where we buy stuff is. It was incredible. I mean, Peter Jennings is there, and he's like, they got a helicopter over there, and you can see like the electrical cables and the houses, and like there's like a river flowing through the main drag in town. It's just it was epic.
I got a question for y'all. Hey, Craig. So tell me what your perspective is on these cows in Nevada.
I haven't really followed it. I haven't really followed it that much, but I mean, one thing I told Dan when we talked about it briefly was, as soon as you have the government owning a whole bunch of land, you're of course opening yourself up to all kinds of problems. And this is another symptom of big government, is government owning a lot of things, right? A lot of land, a lot of material, a lot of oil, whatever. Government is really not supposed to own a lot of things like that. Private individuals are supposed to own things. And Dan and I have had this debate about like public parks and all these kinds of things, and they just went, in my opinion, they just went overboard. Where there's so many states that huge portions of the state are owned by the government. I mean, huge portions.
Says the guy who argues for municipal broadband.
That's a 6-inch wide, you know, runway that we need to put the fiber in the ground. We're not talking about a lot of land here, and they don't need to own it, by the way.
So when the federal government decided to allocate certain land, as they were like mapping out these territories for public libraries and for the U.S. Postal Service, that was just a dramatic overreach in the federal government. We should have just had Western Union charging 10% wire transfer fees for everything.
Well, when you have
God bless America.
As long as Craig gets what he wants, the government can do whatever they need to do to get it done.
It's not a question of what I want. First of all, it's not a question of what I want. Okay, I'm set. I can live the rest of my life.
I understand
and
that.
I don't need another freaking penny. I'm fine. I'm worried about the kids that are 18 years old, 20, 19, 22, whatever, that are graduating from college, that are looking for a bright future and so forth, and that are getting screwed because this country is going to be a freaking third world country if we keep going on the track that we're going on. And I probably won't be here. I'll probably be in Costa Rica or somewhere, right? And I'll be fine. I'm worried about the youngsters that are coming up and that aren't going to have the opportunity that I had. And I think that people need to wake up and they need to realize that we can't let all these other countries have a competitive advantage over us because they're all wired and we aren't.
So with that said, you're saying that that the people are right by protecting this man and his cows?
I think that it's a symptom of a larger problem. I think that when you have a big, strong federal government with a whole bunch of departments and you know, sticking their nose in everything that everybody does, that it's going to cause problems. And I think that it's expensive. And I mean, you're talking about running fiber at every house. That's expensive. That's peanuts compared to what the federal government just wastes on all kinds of programs and all kinds of things they do.
Should counties have a local sheriff's department?
And if you think, let me finish answering Cadeas' question. Let's say that you take 1,000 acres of land, right? And you take it from being owned by the government to being owned by a private entity. Now all of a sudden that 1,000 acres of land, not only does the government not have to maintain it and support it and so on and so forth, but the government is going to be getting tax revenue on it. It actually is good for the government, right? So why do they have to hoard all of this stuff? Why do they have to have all of this land? I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. And yes, there's some pristine land here and there, like Yosemite Valley and so forth, that, okay, fine, let's let it be a park and so forth. But you could still have areas within that you could let people lease and put in like a real nice lodge or whatever, and you could get revenue from it and so forth. And you could leverage some of these things. You could let people make movies in it and get money back and so forth. So you could probably get it so that it supports itself, so it doesn't actually cost any money from the taxpayers. But heaven forbid we do things efficiently and we think like that, right?
If an efficient contractor wanted to, you know, use the redwoods in Yellowstone National Park to make some really nice furniture, and chop those down, and command top dollar, and I mean, you're talking a big commission for the federal government. Would you have a problem with that, or would that be cool?
But Dan, you're taking a small area, relatively small area, where they have these mature redwoods. You're not looking at the hundreds of thousands of other acres that don't have redwoods, that are just sitting there, that nobody's doing anything with, that nobody really cares anything about, that the government owns. I mean, just go along GW Parkway, along the Potomac River, and all that land that the government owns, all along there. That's premium freaking land.
Do you oppose or support the notion that a private contractor should be able to harvest the redwoods?
They could let some people build some mansions along there. It wouldn't hurt a damn thing.
Are you cool with I mean, should it be, you know, if someone wanted to harvest the redwoods?
They don't need to cut down the redwoods. The redwoods are fine the way they are. They've been there 1,000 years. So let them be there another 1,000 years. I have no problem with the redwoods staying there.
So but do you have a problem with the federal government banning that?
They don't need to ban it. What they could do is they could sell that land to a private entity with the stipulation that none of the trees can be cut down and so forth. There are covenants all the time when properties change hands. You know, they can sell, like this place where I am. There's all kinds of covenants here. You can't change the oil in your car in the parking lot. You know, there's all kinds of rules that you have to follow, right? It doesn't mean to preserve that land doesn't mean that it has to be owned by the federal government. It can be regulated by the federal government. If we all decide that we want those redwood trees and we don't want them cut down and so forth, then they could make that a covenant and protect that land. And that they could still have it be run by a private contractor, and that private contractor could decide what to charge for people to come in there and stay in the lodge or whatever, and it could probably be a money-making, profitable thing. Heaven forbid, though, that the government operate efficiently like that.
I think we should have a nice furniture factory open up and just chop down the redwoods and.
Why chop them down, Dan? They're beautiful.
The Grand Canyon, we can condos. I could see condos out the wazoo, and with Google Fiber built in.
The Grand Canyon could have a number of residences around it that wouldn't hurt a damn thing. That could be designed and built into the.
There's gonna be a couple $1 million houses there.
Wait! Stop. The Grand Canyon is on Native American reservation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not owned by the federal government. It's owned by the Yavapai Indian.
Good. Good. Then they should let them, if they wanted to build some things, they should let them do it, as long as it's in good taste. And again, these things could be regulated. The people can get together and make these kinds of decisions. And it doesn't mean that it has to be owned by the federal government. It doesn't mean the federal government needs to like hoard everything. I mean, it's gotten out of control. Like the state of Nevada, I think something like 90% of the freaking state is owned by the government. It's insane. But big government people like Dan and all love that, and they justify it by saying we don't want to cut down the redwoods. Of course we don't need to cut down.
Hey, listen, we had an interesting comment here from Rich Hadd. He asks...
Don't forget Kevin Bryan. He said Craig's right. So why are you going to skip that?
Absolutely. There you go. But he has a question. Kadesh, Dan, would you ask Craig to talk about the Zoom MP3 audio recorder and what he likes about it? I think I'm going to pick one up soon. I highly recommend the Zoom. They're awesome.
You like the H4n?
I like it. It's not a handy dandy one, right? But if you want quality and portability, it's that. So it depends on your use case scenario. But I actually used that for the video. Craig, can you do me a favor? Can you? I'm on multiple computers, and I don't think while I'm streaming, it's hard for me to comment on the actual YouTube video. Could you post the URL for the video I did? Because I used the Zoom
chat.
You on the actual.
I already shared it on my Google Plus. It's already on my Google Plus.
Okay, go to Craig Ship's Google Plus stream, and today for future viewers, today is April 18, 2014. So he just shared a video. It's got a black square with a question mark on it. When I'm talking, I'm recording that with the Zoom H4n audio recorder. Because and it's just really good. It's really good audio quality.
And you know, you're really picky about that, but I really think the H1 is pretty daggone good too. They're a little compact one. And the two advantages of the H1 is, first of all, you can have it in your pocket. It's tiny. and you can still plug a high quality lav mic into it, but you're going to have it with you. I mean, the best recorder in the world, like I've got an H4n, but I never carry it with me. I always carry the H1. It's always in my kit.
Well, I have a 357 Magnum, and I don't use it every day, but it's nice to know that when I need it, you know, it's on my nightstand, and I can
That's
empty
a good
the
point.
chamber.
So let's say you had a Walther PPK, 380 or whatever, and it's very compact, and you had that in your pocket, right? When the bad guy steps to you, that's going to be a much better gun for you because you've got it, right? If you've got the 357 and it's in the trunk of your car, then a lot of good that's going to do you. So my point is, it's just like the best camera is the one you have with you. It's the same thing with this audio equipment. I mean, you can have the best audio equipment in the world, but if you don't have it with you, then you're screwed. So think about that. Whoever it is that asked the question, think about your use case. If your use case is you've got to have it on your person, then buy the small one. If your use case is you're going to have it locked down on a tripod and you're going to be carrying your bag with you and your whole kit, and you're going to set up and you're not going to be moving it around all the time and all that, then find the H4n, because you don't really care about portability and having it on your person, having it handy.
To put this in perspective, this is the size. I'll put it up next to.
It's pretty heavy, pretty thick.
This is my phone. This is a Note 2, right? So this is a really big phone. So it's about the same size, kind of, right? Yeah, it's almost exactly the same size as a Note 2.
So that means it can fit in your back pocket.
If I wasn't so, no, you wouldn't put that Zune H4n in your back pocket.
Let
No,
me see
it's thick, yeah. This
Yeah,
is
it's
no
heavy.
joke. It's
okay,
big.
that's a side pocket. Still not
Okay,
that bad.
here's a Microsoft mouse.
The biggest thing is it's heavy. It's a solid unit. I mean, it's heavy. It's thick. You want to have that in a bag. You don't want to be carrying that in one of your pockets, because you can also damage those mics on the top too if you're not too careful.
It's a big, it's a big ass thing here.
They're
As
not
Jason
really
Salas would
connected
say,
out.
it's one big ass MP3 recorder.
Yeah.
So
If
yeah,
I wasn't so lazy, I would go in there and get the H1 and hold it next to it. There's no comparison. The H1 is small, lightweight. I could literally have it in my inside pocket right now, and I wouldn't even know it was there. It's a whole different thing. And the audio quality is daggone good. I've got on my YouTube channel, if you all want to go there, I've got tests of all of these. The H1, the H4n. I don't see that much difference. Dan really sees a difference, but he's an audiophile. You know, if you really want the best, then yes, get the H4n and plug a real good mic into it, and you're going to have superb audio. But you better be in a situation where you can carry all that stuff and you have it with you.
yeah. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
You know, there are real benefits, and I'm impressed with the audio quality. You like with our NAX7 cameras that Craig and I both own. If you have the right adapter and a good mic like an SM57, SM58, or I use I think it's an Audio Technica now. It's a long, what they call an ENG mic, electronic news gathering mic. It sounds fantastic, but nothing can touch any of these Zooms. They're very good audio quality. The
H4n has a real good preamp in it. I mean, it's designed specifically for this kind of stuff, for field recording. It's a good field recorder. It's not the best. You can buy a $2,000 field recorder if you want to step up, but it's real good.
Yeah, the H4n is good enough. I mean, you can sound like NPR, and I'm like Craig said, I'm an audiophile. I'm really want to sound good, and I have like a great microphone that's off camera, but it's here, and it's just off camera. I think audio is more important than video, even in a video. So there we have it. But yeah, Craig and I both highly recommend Zooms if it fits your use case scenario, and do some Google searches, but they're fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay,
I I do have a whole section on my website on audio options for both iPhones and Android phones and for DSLRs and anything with a mic input. I've got a whole bunch of options there as far as the adapter cables you need, the mics you can use. I really like the little giant squid mic for a lavalier mic that's inexpensive, and I've got information on all of those. So there's a bunch of ways you can capture decent audio into your device, even if you're using a cell phone.
Craig, there's some rumors I've heard that Google is buying CraigShip.com. Is there any truth to that?
Well, CraigShip.com is one of the first Google sites that was ever made, and it hasn't been updated. You can look at, if you want to go back
If you want to go retro.
Yeah, if you want to go retro, look at CraigShip.com, because it was built about 10 years ago as a Google site, and it hasn't really been changed.
If you're impressed with Drudge Report, you'll be really impressed with CraigShip.com.
Yeah.
All right, any final thoughts on anything, and then we can wrap? All right. Okay, so thank you all very much. We appreciate it. Google Plus Week is every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on Google Plus and YouTube Live. Our Android Week airs or is broadcast Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Google Plus and YouTube Live. So Friday night is Google Plus Week, our general tech show with an emphasis on Google stuff, and our general BS show, which is the most fun and the longest running show on Google Plus. And then Monday night is our Android specific show with very few variations because Alan typically keeps us pretty well disciplined. So we want to thank you all very much for watching. We really do appreciate it. And to all of you, I would wish you a very happy Easter. It's been a great Good Friday. Happy Easter if you celebrate Easter. And in any event, we all celebrate Google Plus Week. So thanks. Appreciate it.